Okay. Don't be shy, y'all. Don't be shy. Hey. What are the TikTok dances? What's up, everybody? Tune in. I know you guys got some moves. All right, let's go. All right, everybody. Yeah, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. We're about to get this show started. But real quick, before we start the show, I just do a quick shameless plug real quick. I'm going to give a special shout out to Take Me to the Island Shop on Instagram for sponsoring with their free merchandise, their free shirt. That's right. Thank you so much. Definitely check them out. I'll definitely have it on the bottom of this video. They have a whole catalog of great clothes, hoodies, dangles, and jewelry. So definitely check them out. So thank you so much. A special shout out to the Pacifica Island Shop on Instagram. Definitely check them out. But nevertheless, let's get this show started, y'all. Hope you guys excited. And before we start the show, I'll introduce all the ladies real quick, and we'll ask the very first question. So, ladies, can you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves real quick? Can you just say your name, your age, what you do, and your relationship status? So, Christine, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. I'm Christine. I'm 25, and I'm a student and content creator. And I was single before this live stream, but now I'm taken.
All right. Nice. Okay. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Eesha, go ahead. Introduce yourself.
Okay. Hey, guys. I'm Eesha. I'm from Sri Lanka, and I'm 26 years old, and I am single. So.
She's single, y'all. All right. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. All the way from Sri Lanka. Thank you so much. And last but not least, Talita, go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Talita. I'm 34. I am single, and I'm actually a baker.
All right. Nice. So, ladies, before like I said, thank you so much for tuning in. Let's start this show. So, you guys are ready for the very first question? All right. So, on this podcast, we're all single except Christine. Happily, she just got in a relationship right before we joined this podcast. So, I do want to ask you, ladies. What do you guys look for in a man, especially if you want to take him seriously, especially if you guys are going to commit to that person? Because you guys already know the dating culture today. Everybody's just having fun. Nobody's really committed. Nobody's really taking things seriously. But if you were looking for commitment, if you wanted to take a man seriously, what do you look for in a man for you guys to be able to take him seriously and for you guys to be able to show him commitment and to be in a committed relationship with him? So that's my first question. And I'll start off I guess we started with Christine. She just found her person. So yeah, Christine, that's my question for you. Yeah, go ahead.
I look for a lot. So honesty, loyalty, and I think the way they treat us, like in the dating phase before it's official, says a lot about how serious they want to take you. Mm-hmm. So if they're treating you bad when you're just on a talking stage, then I don't think they would want to be committed to you.
Okay.
So look into that.
All right. And I also want to add to that question, and I'll ask you again, Christine. So when I say what do you look for in a man, because you know how they, nowadays when it comes to relationships, normally we look for how they treat us. But let's be honest, we also look at their job. We also look what they do. We also look at who they what they bring to the table financially. So those are all things that we look for. So that's what my question is. Like, what do you look for in a man when it comes to his behavior? What do you look for in a man when it comes to his job? What everything that when it comes to physical attractiveness? You guys already know you have to be physically attracted to him. So what are all the things that you look for in a man when it comes to physical attributes, financial attributes, his career, his job, and of course, his behavior and how he treats you? Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Christine.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, I'm not like, oh my God, like, he needs to be making millions of dollars. For me, it's that he needs to be ambitious. He needs to have career goals and, like, you know, just goals in life in general.
Mhm.
And I think another thing is, like, your life purpose, like, their life purpose. And because for me, like, I feel like if your life purpose and my life purpose is not, like, similar, or if it aligns, like, oh, I like doing this, but you hate doing this, I feel like it just wouldn't work out.
Okay, when you say life purpose, what does that mean? Can you elaborate on that? Like, what do you mean life?
Yeah.
What's life purpose?
Because a lot of people, like, they don't know what their life purpose is, meaning they're, like, just going on with life. Like,
Mhm.
for me, I would say for me, I love helping people, and I think that's my life purpose,
Mhm.
doing things that will help other people.
Okay.
So if someone doesn't have a life purpose, they're just like, oh, I'm just going with the flow, then, you know, I wouldn't want to be with someone like that.
Okay, all right. And also, ladies, Aisha and Talita, you guys are more than welcome to to jump in if you guys want to in this conversation. I just want to put it out there. But yeah, but Christine, also you said you just have to make $1 million. So is there like a, because I've heard that term from a lot of girls, oh, that's how I make a lot of money, but I do believe there's a certain type of level of financial stability that women look for. So my question is, what kind of financial stability are you looking for? Because are there certain jobs you wouldn't date a guy if he was working a certain job? It's a certain type of level that you look for.
I don't, because I feel like, because for me, I feel like I'm the type of person, like, I'm a giver. So I feel like in a lot of my relationships too, I've been the one to always kind of be more, like, financially involved than the guy, which I know,
Okay.
like, a lot of people don't like that. They want the guy to take care of everything. So for me, I really wouldn't, like, it could be a janitor. Like, I don't care.
Okay, so for you, it doesn't matter at all.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
okay.
lie about that. I feel the same. I mean, not disagreeing with. I mean, that's fine. Everybody has their different goals or what they're looking for. But being a business owner and also having children, it gets a little more complex for me. I can't just be with anybody, whether it's not that I look down on anybody's career choice. I think it's amazing. And I think you should feel blessed that you have a job, period, in this economy if you have one. So whether you do scrubbing toilets or you are an entrepreneur and have something, like, it doesn't matter in that sense. But when I'm looking for something that's compatible with me, and also from being previously divorced, I also know what I need in order for it to work. So as a business owner, it requires a lot of time dedicated to my business, where somebody that doesn't have such a demanding career won't understand the demands of that. And also I do look at, are they physically active? Because that's something that's a large portion of my time also. And then the remaining bracket is my kids. So do they like the kids? Are they going to understand the time constraints that I have? Which means that it does mean that they're going to fall into some kind of a financial bracket. Because if they just work a 9 to 5 and it's not very strenuous work as far as, like, time consuming, and their work comes home with them, they may not understand my situation, because my job tends to come home with me a lot. Okay. And then the other part, the physical part, as not because I'm looking for somebody that's aesthetically necessarily pleasing, because yes, I want to be physically attracted to that person.
Yeah.
I take care of myself, so I want something that does also. I don't expect them to be a competitor like I am, but I do expect them to work out. But for them to understand that, hey, that means there's going to be restrictions as far as, like, I don't want to go out to eat at a restaurant every freaking Saturday. I'm going to meal prep a lot of time. That takes time. I'm going to be at the gym 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the evening. I'm not going to be home during this time. Either you come and join me, or you can be quiet about it and just not complain, because you when you get with me, you realize that I look this way, or this is my pattern. I don't hide what I do. I tell you, hey, this is what I do. This is my schedule, whatever. You were okay with in the beginning. So I don't want to hear you bitch and moan about it later, because if you like the way I look, then shut the fuck up about it.
Yeah. Woo.
So I'm being honest. I'm being brutally honest. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it for anybody,
Hey, Christine, how old are you again?
25.
25. No, the reason why I asked you whether you cared about what your guy does, right? because I've been doing this show for a long time, so I've had a chance to talk to women all ages, whether 30s, 40s, even to 18s or 19. The one thing I have noticed when I talk to older women, like in the late 20s or early 30s or 40s, the one thing they would say is like one of the biggest mistakes they made when it came to the choices with the men they were with earlier when they were younger. They didn't pay attention to his life, what he did, or did he have a plan? Did he have a goal for his life? Because a lot of times when you ask younger girls, they're like, "Oh, I don't care what he does," or "I don't care what he does," because you guys are just more focused on the emotional part of the relationship. But then once you go into commitment and once you get into marriage and realize that this guy probably didn't have the traits or the mindset to grow and to work and to be ambitious, and then that it puts a lot of strain on the relationship. Because I've heard from girls before, yeah, I don't care. And you go with the guy that over time and realizing he's not really fulfilling his responsibilities financially, and then later on they end up splitting or something happens. The relationship doesn't work out. Because I do believe in order for a lot of women, when I ask them, they do prefer a man that can be financially stable and fulfill his responsibility to protect and provide. Does anybody want to add to that?
I kind of have to add to that. Sorry. Yeah, like I don't mean it in a way like, oh, I don't care. Like what I mean is like, because you could be doing some like a job or you could have a career that might not look very fulfilling for other people. But for me, it's like, if they love what they do, I'm not going to look down on them just because like, even if I'm more financially stable, like, I don't know, that's just me. Like if a person loves what they do, you can't really be like, oh no, you have to be an entrepreneur. Like you have to be making a lot of money. Because if you're happy, like, even if you're not making a lot of money, if you're happy with what you do, I think life is too short to really care about like those stuff.
All right, let me ask you this. How many kids do you want? Two kids, all right. So the thing is, like, because I've heard a lot of ladies, women or young people say, I don't care as long as you're happy. But the reality is, like, when you have kids, it's expensive. I mean, Talita can profess to that, right?
Yes,
so,
absolutely.
So right now, money may not be as a high priority for you because right now you're in a situation where you don't really, that extra income is not needed. But the thing is, because like we were talking about commitment, right? You guys want to find a guy you can commit to long term. Once you start having kids, you're gonna have like in a house probably because you guys want your own place. Probably gonna get a school, daycare, and all these things. That's when that man really steps up. So I always tell my younger siblings, my younger sisters, and my younger nephews and nieces that if you want a guy, don't look for what he does. Ask him does he have a plan with that. So if he's happy just being a janitor, that's fine, right? But the thing is, if you're gonna have more kids, there's gonna be more expenses. And if he's happy, if he's content where his salary is at, then your expenses as far as what you want for your family is gonna exceed what he's bringing to the table. That's also gonna bring a lot of strain into the relationship. And that's my thoughts on that. Because I do hear a lot of ladies do that. Oh, I don't care. And then they go with the guy, to realize, oh shoot, this guy is actually not leveling up or growing and because when you start a family and grow with the family, there's also gonna come expenses gonna come with that. And if you don't plan for that, then it's gonna be difficult later on. But that's something I would just say to that. Eesha, do you want to add anything there or no?
So I just gonna. Yeah, so at 25, I also didn't care about whether the guy was doing like a really good job or whatever. In fact, my partner at the time was unemployed. So I was potentially the person who was, providing everything from his clothes to food to, everything. And I lost everything by the start of January 2020. I had lost all my money because the person I thought would have my back didn't actually have my back. Yeah. And then, but my parents never, no one knew because I'm kind of private that way. Mm-hmm. And when I did actually tell my mother, because the healing period was so long, and when I told my mother, she said, if you're going to find a man, find somebody who will keep you at the same level you are right now or above it.
Mhm.
And I think that that's not necessarily to see that I'm materialistic or whatever, but right now I prefer a man who is booked and busy, so to speak,
Yeah.
because I hustle a lot. So I work 3 jobs, and I earn relatively better than other people my age in Sri Lanka, in Sri Lankan standards. So I would prefer somebody who understands that hustle, who understands that I'm not going to be able to call you and be available for you 24/7, because sometimes I'm going to have to, wake up at 1 a.m. and start working on a budget, because my work hours are non-existent at the moment. So I would prefer, as much as I don't care, also I don't care what they do. Like in Sri Lanka, the standards are, doctor, lawyer, engineer, disappointment to the family. So anything other than that is kind of like a disappointment. But people still work. People still get into different areas of work, and they earn, and they're passionate about what they do. So I don't particularly care what they do, but they might have to be on a certain level that I can relate to, because at the end of the day, if I do want to have a future with this person, I have to see what he brings to the table, because you have to know what you bring to the table. So when I get into a relationship, it's 100% commitment, loyalty, all of that, sure. But I want to be able to elevate myself as well. I can't always be completely about you and what you need and what you want and whether you've eaten, all that. That comes out of caring for your partner. Of course, it will automatically happen. But I just, want to be at a place where both of us are growing side by side, instead of one person always having to look up for and be concerned about the other person. But love, I find, my definition of a partner has changed, I think, based on my past relationships, where now I would prefer somebody who's kind of like at the same level of hustle that I am, and also wants to elevate from there. Like, I don't want him to be satisfied where I am, because when my friends speak to me, they're always like, oh, what more do you want? You do this, you do that, and you everyone knows you, people, but that's not enough for me, because the dream is just still not even like quarter achieved. So I want somebody who has that drive, definitely. I don't care what you do, but at some point you're going to need to have to elevate, because I'll be elevating. I'm always looking for new opportunities. So if you're stagnant and you're happy with what you have, or you're unhappy with what you have, but not doing shit about it, like, that's not attractive for me anymore. So I understand, like, when you're younger, like, that happens. Like, you think it doesn't matter, because I have always been the person who was financially better off than my partner. And so I would, go all in and shower them with gifts and, every single thing possible. But at the same time, you need to realize that you need to give to somebody who also wants to give back to you. You can't be in a relationship with a constant taker, because you're going to burn yourself out at some point. So, yeah, I think someone who matches my level of effort and also matches my drive and also understands the hustle is what I'm looking for now. So,
Yeah.
I
What did you say, Talita?
completely agree with that. And
Yeah.
the only thing I add to that for me is I remember how you mentioned a lot of women like to feel that their partner can provide for them.
Yeah.
I like the security of knowing that if something happened, that I could count on my partner to carry the weight, but I do not fall into the traditional role of wanting to be, and I'm not saying this is the case for everybody, but I don't want to be the domestic housewife per se.
Yeah.
I don't mind doing the house chores and the wife duties per se, or that standard, but I also have a career, and I'm not willing to forfeit my career for that, to just be a housewife. So in saying that, I want, just like she said, I want somebody that's at the same level as me, and that since I have so many more goals that I plan on achieving as far as my career goes and this and that, I want that person to also have their goals, that we can work together, whether or not be the same. Our goals might be different, like his career from mine. It doesn't have to be the same at all, but he has drive and I have drive, and we are always pushing forward. So I'm along with her on that.
Oh yeah.
Like I completely agree on that, because like it doesn't matter to me what you do. Like you say you want to start a food truck, shit, I'll show up after work and clean with you, like, 100% support. But like, just don't be at a level where you're not just doing anything, you're just stagnant, because like life goes on, and it's like in 5 or 10 years, is this all you want to say that you did? That's going to be so messed up, because I can't handle that. So
and there's people but you have to live within those means. So if you're going to partner up with somebody that wants to live that life and they're okay living that for the next 50 years of their life, well, you have to be able to picture yourself, hey, am I okay with them doing that for the next 50 years and me staying at the same level, or me hustling a whole bunch and, let's say, reaching the goal of being astronomically financially stable, and they are still there? Am I okay with that? Am I okay with just pulling all the weight and just bringing that person along with me, and I don't mind them riding my coattails? Or am I going to be bothered?
Yeah, that's really something that I think a lot of women don't think about, or like they think about, but they don't want to like put it out there because it would make them seem like, materialistic or whatever. Yeah. But like, let's be practical. Like, you're going to think about those things. Like, your future will depend on who you're with. And like she said, like, I don't want anybody to provide for me. Like, I'm fine on my own. Like, I do all of that. But it's nice to know that someone's got your back in that corner. That's basically it. And if you can't, depend on that person financially or maybe emotionally, or to even step up, if there's a point where your car breaks down, will he come and actually pick you up? Or will he just say, oh no, I'm too lazy right now, whatever? Like, those things like that, they do like factor in at some point.
Yeah, and the only reason why I brought that up because when Christina said I don't care, because it's something I hear a lot from a lot of women. I also have a lot of friends also that their girlfriends tell them that, and I tell them my guy friends all the time, like, if your girlfriend tells you, or your significant other tells you, I don't care what you do, I don't care how much money you make, and I tell them no, they actually do care, and maybe at this moment now, but later on, like I said, practically when we start a family, when we need expenses, women, you guys prefer your man to be able to take care of business. He doesn't necessarily, you guys, of course, I'm sure all you guys work together 50-50 with your man and provide and divide up the financial responsibility. But I do know for a lot of women, they do prefer, even though he doesn't have to provide and pay for everything, but they wouldn't. You guys would, like, I think Talita said it, you want to know that if something happens, he can step up and take care of it, right? So and I've just seen it for a lot of guys when they hear those words from women. Oh, I don't care how much money, I don't care. Then men literally take that literally. They're like, oh, you don't care, and they don't really put in the work to grow, because that's what you told them, right? That's what you told them. For men, when we hear something, we take it literally. I know for women, you guys like are very indirect when you guys express your feelings, but for men, we are very literal when we hear things. So I've heard a lot of women tell guys, say, oh, I don't care. And the guys, oh, you don't care? Oh, okay. And they don't put in the work. And then over a long period of time, about a committed relationship. And then when they can't, when something happens financially and they need to step up and they can't because they haven't put in the work, then it puts a lot of strain in the relationship. Or she leaves to find another guy that can support him, that can support her and handle that responsibility. So that's why I brought it up, because I know for a lot of guys been listening to Christine, oh, I don't care. Oh, I want to find a girl like Christine, but I tell them, no, the women do care, but they said probably now they don't care now, but long term, like Eesha said, practically long term, eventually it will matter. But if you don't put in the work now to make sure you handle your business when that time comes, then naturally, it's for a lot of women, it's really hard for women to respect a man that can't fulfill his responsibility as a man. Anybody want to add to that?
I think that's true, because like it might not come in initially, like you start off not caring, and then you start seeing like how much money you're losing, how much effort it's going in, and it's not reciprocated, and then like you get into like your own fucked up place in your head as well, because you're like, oh no, like does that mean I actually care, or does that mean I'm actually materialistic, like what's happening? And you're just going to end up unhappy, and I don't think there's a point of being unhappy with someone. But sorry, well, can I just ask whether I can just go off like for a second, because I feel like the sun's just blaring in my face.
Go ahead. Go ahead. No. And the reason why I brought that standpoint, because for me, like I know for a lot of guys in the early 20s is when a lot of guys are, they're not, if they're young, they haven't really figured out their life yet. So I think it's really, really important for women to express their needs of what you want from a partner, especially financially. Because I know Eesha said that if a woman tells a man today in this society what she looks for financially, you're gonna be labeled as a what?
Materialistic.
Or what's the other word?
Gold digger.
Gold digger, right? But the thing is, for me, it's not gold digger. It's practical, because it's reality. We need kids and relationships cost money. Marriage costs money, so it's practical to express what kind of financial level you're looking for in a man. And if you don't express that to a man clearly, then the man thinks, oh, she doesn't care about my financial obligation. I could just chill, party, have friends, and do stupid shit, smoke and drink. But then when baby come in, and bills need to be paid, they're like, and then of course, a woman, you look for the man to handle up it. But it was like, hey, wait, you told me you didn't care. Like, why, so now, like, because you didn't set that precedent in the beginning, that's why I feel like if you don't make that clear in the beginning, don't tell a guy, hey, I don't care, because guys will literally take that, especially if it's a young guy in his early 20s. Because when I was in my early 20s, I didn't even care about responsibility. I was just living life, chilling, having fun. I wasn't even when I was in, having relationships, but I wasn't even thinking long term, So
I think that also with women.
Huh?
I think it depends at the point in your life, the age you are in the season you're.
Yeah, that's why I brought it up. That's why I brought it up.
21 and he's 21, and let's be honest, you guys, you're both looking for the same thing, then I think it works. But when one has an expectation and the other doesn't, or like you said, like she fails to communicate because she has this expectation, then I think it's messed up. Like you should tell them. But if you guys are on the same level and you both are ready to party hardy and that's all you care about, then whatever.
Yeah, but the only thing I would say that even when they're younger, right? Because what happens is if you guys are having fun, and let's say the girl gets pregnant, right? When the girl gets pregnant, she can't work. Who is expected to step up?
The guy.
The guy. Yeah. So if you that's why I bringing this up. Doesn't matter how young you are. I'm glad if young ladies, if you listen to this, you're very young. You need to start focusing on a man's ability to take care of you, because if something happens to get a baby and then that guy is not ready to step up, and if the guy's not ready to step up and he's really young, you know what he's gonna do? He's
Tell it out of there.
He's dipping. he's gone. Let's just keep it 100. Like, if the guy's not ready to step up for a baby and he's not ready at that level, and that's why you see a lot of cases of guys are just I'm not taking care of their kids, but that's why I'm glad we're having this conversation, especially for a lot of young women that's watching this. You need to focus and pay attention to not only the men you're bringing into your life, but also his ability to take care of you, because it is important, because when you have a baby, you can't work. The man has to step up. So that's why I brought that point up, because if you tell a guy, hey, I don't care about money, he's literally gonna take that and just do whatever it won't put in the work. And then when something happens, whether it's pregnancy, kids, marriage, whatever, and you haven't had that conversation, you really had a plan for it, it is going to put a lot of strain in that relationship, and a lot of times it tends to not work out. That's my thought to it. Anybody want to jump on? All right, Christine, the last thing before we move on to the next person, you mentioned what are the things you look for to be attracted in a guy? Physical attributes.
To be attracted. Ooh.
Be honest. Hey, don't fake. Be honest. You keep it real. What do you look for?
I'm like, it's weird because like my taste is just so weird. Like, ask my best friend. It's like I don't have like a certain, like, let's say I'm just using as an example. Someone will be like, I only like brunettes. I only like blondes. Like, my like fluctuates. Like,
all right, I'll make it easy for you. What's his height?
Definitely over 5'9".
All right, over 5'9". So every guy's watching this 5'9". Sorry. All right, so 5'9". What about athletic build? Does he fat, healthy, whatever? What do you look for?
As long as he's working out, because like I'm a big like I work out almost every day too. So I wouldn't want someone who doesn't work out and take care of their body.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. So he has to, at least work out, take care of his body.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to be like a bodybuilder, but at least he's healthy.
Yeah. It doesn't need the 6-pack, but
all right.
as long as he works.
But if it's a fat slob, no chance.
If you put it out.
Yeah, that's good. Hey, all right, that's fine. Okay, yeah, and yeah, so the height, because I usually from a lot of women, that usually it's always like the height, right? The height and the, okay. Anything else you want to add to that before I move on? All right, cool. All right, let's move on to Talita. Going to you.
What was the first part?
So same question. What do you look for in a man to be fully committed to him, to take him seriously?
Well, I'm going to retract my first statement in the beginning. Like, I'm single, but I have somebody in the shopping cart that I'm like heading towards.
Oh, shopping cart. I like that.
I like that too.
I like that. I dig that. Oh my God.
Okay, so I'm not going to lie. I don't know. I don't really have a height preference because I'm short.
How tall are you?
I'm 4'11".
Okay.
So,
okay. Yeah.
It doesn't
You're
matter.
pretty good. You're pretty good.
As long as they are an inch taller than me, we're good.
Okay.
But I'm not going to lie to you. I do find more attractive, taller guys. And for some reason, they seem to like me. Before, when I was younger, I used to like guys that were like 5'5", 5'8". Now, for some reason, the ones that are attracted to me are only 6 foot and above. I don't know why.
Nice.
Like, I don't understand. And I'm kind of digging it. I don't know.
I'm gonna say this because I'm a tall guy. I don't know. There's something about just picking up a girl like a teddy bear.
I don't know what it is. It's never been my thing. Like,
so when you're small,
you're small, like, oh my, they used to like, I like a guy has been 6'3", and I'm like, who cares? And now I'm like, oh, he's 6'3". Oh, okay. Like, all righty then. So I like the tall guys now. As far as build goes, since like I mentioned before, it's important for me that he does like to work out, and I'm not gonna lie. I like a harder looking guy. So I like a guy that has a 6-pack. I like the guy that has the bigger arms, that works out his legs, that
you can't
does not have to be like Mr. Olympia bodybuilder, not to that extreme, but he has to at least fit into like a men's classic.
Hey, can you date a guy that skips leg day?
No.
Never skip leg day.
That's one of the first things I look at. I'm like, oh God, his leg is like, one of his legs is not even equivalent to like half of my thigh. Like, this is not happening.
Okay, no leg. He has to work on his legs. All right.
Yes, gotta do like.
All right, so that's the physical part. What about the the financial part? Like, oh, you already mentioned that already. Yeah, you already mentioned it already. But okay, so what else? What else does he have to? So he has to. You talked about the physical build financially. What else does he have to?
He's got like kids. I got kids.
He has like kids.
I'm not a snack. You're getting a whole Thanksgiving meal when you get me. You're getting me plus the 4 kids, and you got to be able to deal with the co-parenting. Like, that's a whole nother thing. So it's like, there's layers to it, because if you are somebody that doesn't want to have to deal with my ex, well, sorry, I must tell you, I can't date you, because that person's going to be in my life forever. I mean, you can, I guess people sometimes say, oh, when the kid's 21, not anymore. Technically, you probably won't see them that much, but once in a while, you're still going to run into them, or like a Thanksgiving or whatever kind of thing. So you have to be able to deal with that whole parenting aspect, especially with the smaller ones. So it's important.
I want to ask you this question. Do you find it, the guys that you do meet where, in the shopping carts, or the guys you do meet, do you find it hard as soon as you bring up the kids? Like, what's their reaction when you bring up your single mom?
Normally, they know right off the bat.
Right off the bat, okay.
That's like one of the first things. Even I don't have a Tinder or anything like that, but if I were to have one, I would put in that. Like, I'd put in my bio. Like, if I was on a dating app, I'd put that. If somebody asked me, or somebody talks to me like, oh, what do you like to do, this and that? Well, I always find a way to throw in and say, hey, I have kids, without saying, hey, I have kids.
Yeah.
And then they'll say, oh, well, they'll either chime in, hey, I have a daughter, or I have 2 kids, or I don't have any kids. or they're asking me, how many do you have? And normally when they say, how many do you have? It means that they don't have any.
Yeah.
I'm just saying by the odds of like how many times it's happened. It means that I'm like, when they say that, it pretty much means you don't have one. So then my next question is, do you want one?
Yeah.
Or how many do you want?
Yeah.
Because I don't really want any. Like I'm 98% sure I don't want any more. It would take a very special somebody for me to have another kid, because that means another, I hate to use this term, but another baby daddy, another freaking kid. You know, like I love kids. My kids, don't regret them by any means, but it's one more child to add. And it's a big responsibility. And as being previously divorced, I know what it entails as a single parent. I know I know the restrictions it puts on you and the burden it puts on you as a partner, a husband and wife situation. I know all of the work that goes into it. I'm not a first-time mom. This would make me a fifth-time mom. So I'm pretty chill compared to a first-time mom when you're stressing out in your helicopter mode and you worry about everything. But I know the real nitty-gritty, that I know that not just the rosy pink glasses effect of what you think having a baby or having a kid is. I know the reality of it.
Yeah.
I know the good and the bad. So I need that person to be like, okay. And that's my next question to them. Like, okay, so let's say they don't want kids and they never had kids, but they say they're open to having kids, open to, you know, embracing my children as their children. Well, are you really? Because they're different ages. Okay. So I got 12, 8 that's turning 9, 5 that's turning 6, 4 that's turning 5.
Yeah.
The youngest, a girl, 3 boys. Okay. So it's a lot. Like there's a lot of personalities. Most people that haven't had kids before have dealt with like maybe a sibling or maybe a cousin or babysitting, maybe a little nephew or something. It's not the same thing. You don't get to give that kid back at the end of the day. Like my kids are gonna be there, and you're gonna have to learn to like them when they're good and when they're bad. So are you willing to sign up for that? So it gets really complex. And I ask people that, and I listen to their answer. And that's how I decide if I want to like go through the talking phase with that person. And I keep digging, and I keep finding other situations, or on a daily basis, when like you're talking and in that talking phase, I'll say, oh, my kid did this, by the way, and I see what their reaction is, what they would say. Oh man, I would beat the shit out of them in that sense. Or, oh, that's not that big of a deal. Because that tells me what your knee-jerk reaction would be if you were the one dealing with it.
Yeah.
So it's important.
Based on the type of other men that do show interest in you, the types of men that do show interest, are there the men with the kids that have kids already, or that the men
most
who don't have kids?
That a good 75%.
I don't want to already have kids.
Kids.
Okay.
That have their own, that either have 1 or 2 is normally the average.
Okay.
It's very rare that I find anybody that has as many as I do or more, obviously.
Yeah.
But mostly 1 or 2. And then the other 25% ends up being guys that don't, but either they get split like in half.
Yeah.
They can't have kids for some reason, or don't want kids, or have made it so that they cannot have kids, or ends up being the ones that maybe want to have one day, but they're like, about it.
Do you prefer to be with a guy that has a kid that already has kids because he already has experience, or do you prefer to be with a guy that has no kids?
It's really going to depend on that person. Like the guy in the shopping cart has no kids.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's good for him.
but he knows enough about my kids, and I know enough about his reactions to situations. Now, I know this is relevant, but it's not necessarily on topic.
Yeah.
Another discussion point for me as far as the kid goes is there's going to be a period of time, or an extended period of time, that you're not going to interact with my kids at all. Like you may hear of them, but you're not talking to them until I know for sure that I take you seriously, and I can see potential in this relationship for longevity. That I'm going to decide. You're not going to decide for me. I'm going to decide as the mom, because these are my kids. I understand that they will be important to you, but at the end of the day, they are my kids, my responsibility, and I have to protect them. So when I know for sure that you're going to stick around, I will introduce you to my kids, and then we will have, it'll open the doors for more time together and do activities because my kids can be present. It won't just be either date nights when I don't have them or the weekends I don't have them. You understand? It opens up that door, but I'm not going to rush it just because I want more time. Because I have to look, I'm looking for love and what I need, but I have to look also for their needs.
Okay. All right. So, okay. Yeah. Christine and Eesha, do you want to add on anything? Anything you want to ask her?
I just wish
I know
I looked
a lot.
like that when I have 4 kids. Like, damn.
You can. You got 4 kids, and then you can go to the gym all the time.
Yeah, Talita, she got those those guns. Those guns, boy.
With that time, no, but
You got those guns locked and loaded. You got those guns.
right.
All right. So let's move on to the last person. Eesha, same question. What do you look for in a man? If you're gonna take him seriously, and if you're gonna fully commit to him, same thing. What do you look for in, when it comes to physical attributes, financial, and anything else you want to add to that?
Okay, so I'm 5'9", which is way above average height for a Sri Lankan woman.
Okay.
I'm also above average height of a Sri Lankan man. So as much as I would love a guy who's 6 foot or above, I haven't really had the opportunity. If I was to date Sri Lankans, I haven't really dated many, to be honest. I've dated only one guy.
Yeah.
And he was about 5'3", which was pretty much a long distance relationship at that point. But so height is definitely a thing. Obviously I'm kind of speaking to guys and stuff, and sometimes if they have the height factor, they get a little notch above the others in terms of the talking phase. Mm-hmm. But yeah, height, I'm not too pressed about whether or not the guy has a 6-pack or whatever. I'm okay with a fit dad bod. I find it nice for cuddling. But yeah, the guys I've dated have been guys who have 6-packs, except the recent one who was a power lifter, so it was a bit bulky. I would prefer the fit dad bod, because I am on an intense intermittent fasting plus HIIT workout regime at the moment. So somebody who also works out would work out well for me. In terms of what they do, what else I look for, I really want somebody who is kind. And I think kindness is something not just to me, but how is he to people around him? How does he treat the Uber guy or the waiter? Mm-hmm. Or, how does he treat my parents or my friends when we're out? How does he treat me? Obviously, I think I require a lot of kindness, because I put out a lot of kindness out there on my own. So if somebody who can't match that comes along, then I would be probably mm-mm. And this is going to sound super weird, but for the life of me, I cannot bang a dumb guy. I have literally walked out of situations where it was going so well, but he said something so stupid, and I was like, nope, I'm just gonna yeet out of here. Exactly. Because I've done a lot of things. I've studied law, I've studied psychology, I've studied international relations. I've gone into so many subjects because I just want to be well versed in in what I speak about, because I speak and argue a lot. This math, no filter. So I want to know what I'm talking about. So I would prefer somebody who matches that intelligence level. That doesn't mean that you have to have a PhD or something.
Yeah. Okay.
Even if you're I
was going to ask you, when it comes to intelligence, are you talking about some people may not be academically smart, but they're very street smart. So yeah. Okay.
What kind of conversations can you have with me about politics? What kind of conversations can you have about philosophical things of life? What are you looking for?
Yeah.
Because if you're with me and all you're talking about is the last time we went out with the guys and got high and drunk and partied, then no, like
Okay, gotcha.
that's exactly my reaction. I saw Talita's face and I was like, yeah, same. So like, but I mean, I do, it's not like I'm always serious. Like I like partying, I like going out, whatever. But sometimes like you just want to kick back and just relax, have like a night in and dinner. And what are you going to talk about? The fact that you miss going out? Like, no. So I prefer those conversations. And even when I find like the guys who speak to me at the moment, I'm more interested in giving my time to the people who can give me some sort of philosophical, some sort of conversation. So kindness, intelligence, and I like a guy who's funny, like, you know, because I have a very serious life. So sometimes I just need somebody who's a bit funny, because like with my work, I go through like very hectic life stories of people and victims of abuse and stuff. So I prefer somebody who's also funny. So if anybody listening to this is kind, funny, and smart.
Those DMs.
Yeah, send that DM.
Yeah.
What about the career? Like what you look for in a man's career, financial ability?
Well, I don't know. There's a saying here that, you know, if you're a lawyer or you're in the legal field, like the best fit for you would be somebody in the legal field because they would understand what it's like the, you know, the career. But I mean, I don't agree. Like nobody that I'm speaking to at the moment is in the legal career. They're mostly like aeronautical engineers and stuff. So when that kind of thing happens, like maybe they don't relate to you in the same way, but they still understand because they're as busy as you are. So career-wise, somebody who's pursuing something they love, because I'm pursuing what I love. I absolutely love what I do. And that's why I think it doesn't even feel like work. Even though some days I'm like, why am I doing this? But yeah, like somebody who enjoys, like, you know, like Christine said, even if it's a janitor, but like enjoys what he does, but, you know, doesn't want to be a janitor for the rest of his life, then I would like, sure, like, why not? But in terms of not understand, I just need somebody who understands how hard I work, because otherwise it's just not going to, because I have these situations where like these guys who talk to me are still in the talking stage, and they like message me like, hi, and I don't have the time to, you know, respond sometimes. And, you know, by the time I respond, it's like super late or like the next day, and they're like, oh, like, you know, you're so full of yourself, you don't want to. That's not the case. I'm sorry, I'm just busy, and I'm not going to like waste my time on a talking phase just replying to a good morning message every day. But if I'm interested enough, I will definitely make time for you. And I find more or less these guys who constantly say the hi and expect a response back are people who are not engaged in careers that require your commitment that way. But the guys like who I do speak to seriously, they understand. Like if I say, sorry, I'm busy at the moment, I'll get back to you, they don't like double text or like call or something. They wait. And I appreciate that, because making time for people is something that is a bit difficult for me because of my schedule. And if somebody understands that because they know what it's like to be that busy and putting in that effort, then definitely someone who's gonna have like a notch above the others in my book.
Yeah. Anybody want to add to that before I ask my question?
Oh my God, I sound
really
so serious. I promise I'm a fun person, but yeah.
I really, really like how you said about like the high, like they just keep going at it, because that happens to me so much where it's like my DMs is filled with like, they just message after message. It's like, I'm sorry, like I'm not obligated to respond to you. If I don't respond after the second time, just get the point.
Yeah, like, you know, they say like, hi, good morning, you're pretty, you're this, you're that. And then you don't respond. It's like, you're not even that pretty, you're a bitch. Like, I'm like, make it make sense, babe.
Let me ask you this. I'm sure all of you guys get DMs from guys. What does it take for a guy for you to respond to his DM? If he does slide into your DM, like what is it of the guys that you do respond to on your DM? Like, why did you respond to that guy? I want to ask you guys that question. I'll start with you, Christine, the guys that you do respond, of course, the guys that the weirdos, right? They send the hi, hey, you know.
Those don't get a response. For me, I had a lot of guys reach out to me being very disrespectful, like just being like, hey, sexy, or like, oh my God, your blah, blah, blah future is this and that. And it's like, do you really expect a woman to respond to that when it just looks like you're kind of objectifying them? For me, it's like, if you're reaching out to me with respect, like, hey, I hope your day is going great. Or like, if I post something and they relate to it and they're like, oh yeah, like this happened to me, or like they ask questions, and if I get more like, I reply if it's more like engaging, where it's like, I feel like I could give them some type of value in a way, like maybe my response. And now it's going to be different now that I'm in a relationship, because, you know, I'm not going to just be responding to guys. But before that would be when I would respond.
What about for you, Talita? Like the guys that you do respond on your DMs, like what do they do for you to respond to that DM?
Okay. It's not that I can't take a compliment. That's great. Compliments are great, but I'm not going to respond to that. If you can't, like you said, if it's not about a topic that was something that I posted and where you're asking a question or you made a comment about it, then I'll respond to that. But if it's just like, you know, hey, you're so gorgeous, yada, yada, do you want another kid? Like, you know, the stuff, I'm not going to answer you. And they do reply with, sometimes they just keep going with the hey, like you said, and they'll get the gist, or they'll say something nasty, you know, which I'm not going to entertain that either. That's just swipe, delete, goodbye, block. Bye. But the ones that I do engage and start to talk to are the ones that gave me a compliment based on, how do I say this? Okay, they've watched enough of my content or have followed me long enough to pick up, and actually it shows that they put effort to put 2 and 2 together and find out something about me that maybe I didn't openly just say, but that they observed, or that we have in common, or they're like, hey, I noticed that you do this, this, and this. I do this also, or I really think that's really awesome. You seem like a great person because of a specific reason that's not superficial. Like I can tell that you really care about, you know, like I really am passionate about the fitness thing, but I actually for a long time as a personal trainer switched to the baking thing because it was made for a season of my life. And now it's almost coming to a cap where I'm going to rotate back to what I originally did. So with that being said, they'll say something about the fitness and like, hey, I noticed that you do this, this, and this. I also follow this, this, and this, and it meshes. And I'm like, oh, well, there's something, there's substance to this conversation. There's actually, it's not the basic, hey, what's up? How's your day going? You know, or what's your plan this weekend? Not that kind of stuff. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but that's not going to be attention grabbing, like you said. When you read something, because, you know, you can see part of the conversation, you don't really have to click it. Like I can read the first line. So if that first line isn't like every 50 other messages that's there, most likely I'm going to click it and it's going to make me read it. And if there's substance and I can see that there's dialogue and you have depth to you and you pay attention, you're observant, I'm going to communicate. I'm going to start a conversation with you. That's your way in.
Okay, I like the love what you said, like the substance, right? That's always good, you know, right? You bring substance to conversation. I think a lot of you guys said
you gotta be able to dialogue, be able to banter, you gotta be able to have humor, but there's gotta be depth to you. You can't just be this superficial puddle, like, okay, you're beautiful, but like she said, but you're as dumb as a box of rocks. Like, what am I gonna do?
And of course, for a lot of guys that listen to this, you have to understand that if you slide into a girl's DMs, girls off rip think you're trying to sleep with them, you know, because off rip, that's already the expectation of sliding into DMs, right? So if you just say, hey, sexy, you know, that's just giving up. It's just like validating that point. Oh, he's just trying to have sex with me. But that's why a lot of you guys said it wasn't the sexual comments. It was the comments that it was more substance to it and just more, like I said, more real, I guess. That's what you guys say. All right. So and last, Eesha, what about you? What do you have to? What do men have to do for you to respond to their comment, to their DM?
Like, not be a creep who stalked me off because you saw me on Tinder. that's something that happens to me so much. Like, I got on Tinder and Bumble because my friends like suggested I get back out there, like, you know, talk to guys. And like, obviously, like, they take it to another level. Like, because like not especially on Tinder, like you don't swipe on everyone, and like a guy that you haven't swiped on like thinks it's okay to kind of go out there and stalk your socials and DM you and saying, hey, I saw you on Tinder. And I'm like, yeah, there's a reason you're not talking to me on Tinder, you know? Like, what makes you think I'm going to talk to you here? And it's so creepy. Like, you feel super exposed. But the men who I do speak to, like, they would be very polite, you know, like, hi, I like your Twitter content, or I like the way you know, talk about social issues and do legal awareness. Like, I would really like to get to know you more. And like, or they just like say, you know, I think you're a really great person, and I like how you know, or how you sing or whatever. I would really like to hang out. Then I would actually respond. But if you're just going to be like, you know, whenever I post like, you know, a picture, if you're just going to be like, hey, sexy, or hi, sexy, or so sexy, or, you know, like, yeah, or just sometimes just like one word, like I don't know why guys do that. Like, they just send you like baby, and that's it. Like, what am I supposed to do with this information now? Like, you know, and so they just send you like baby and a heart, and you're like, baby what? Like, you know. But I think somebody who just actually like talks to me about what I'm doing, or just, you know, when they're genuinely interested in you. Like, we do know, like, we are not stupid. Like, we know, like you said, like, we know when you're trying to get us in bed. And I know like some women, if they want to, they probably respond to that because they wouldn't mind that. But, you know, when you're at a certain point in life, I find like that doesn't really appeal to you anymore. Like you said, like, you have so many DMs, and you like, who stands out, who has said something that really has grabbed your attention enough to see, oh, you know, I might actually enjoy speaking to this person. But like, don't say you saw me on Tinder, because, you know, or like, you know, don't comment on my boobs, or, you know, something, because like in Sri Lanka, I'm a big girl, and here we don't really have that culture where we're free with our bodies, so to speak. So
Yeah.
like the level of content that goes out there is quite different to what you would find in America. Like, sometimes it's like a dream to be achieved, to be able to just wear something like that. So, but I, of course, post pictures that are a bit more culturally inappropriate, I think. So like, I have swimsuit pictures I like to post, and I'm a curvy girl, and, you know, that's not really in here, I think, because they prefer a more skinnier woman. But, you know, I do that. So I get like a lot of like inappropriate remarks, unsolicited dick pics, and, you know, like all of that. So when that happens, when you're dealing with all of that, and sometimes it's so refreshing to have somebody just say, hey, I really like your content, or I really like how you sing, would you maybe like try to sing this song for me, or something like that. And then you get interested because it's something new, so you want to respond. So yeah, that would be how someone would get my attention. So
Okay, all right. Hope everybody's taking notes. You know, I always hear from a lot of girls, but why is there always the weirdos, like always like the old men from like the Middle East or from India? I don't know.
Oh my God, like, it is primarily like Indian uncles.
Yeah, India.
Who are like,
That's
you
the
know,
feedback I get from a lot of girls. It's always the weirdos from India
like,
that they hit them
like
up.
they would be like, show me Bob's baby or some shit. Like,
Oh no.
Hey, baby. All right, cool. So I guess we'll let's start allowing you guys ask your questions. So, Christine, what's your? I'm sure you have a spicy question for us. So what's your question?
I have so many. Okay, let's start with the hookup culture.
All right.
This is something like I've kind of realized, like maybe from personal experience too, but when it comes to sleeping around, like right now, it's like all hookup culture with everything. So I feel like when it's girls though, like when it's girls sleeping around, it's mostly like, it's because we're either like dealing with a heartbreak or trying to get like over a relationship. It's just like to block our like emotions and feelings. But is it the same for guys, or do they just do it just because they want to do it? Like they just want to sleep around and just think it like it's okay.
Oh, okay. All right. So that's That's
I think I'm in the. I think I'm in that whole phase at the moment.
all right. Okay. So no, I would say this. Both my experience and then also people that I know from both men and women. Usually if guys or females, if they do sleep around, right, or go through their whole phase, there's a likelihood that there's something that happened with their past, whether in their childhood, with their family, or their mommy issues, daddy issues, and that's why they have attachment issues. So that's why a lot of times men and women do go through the whole phase of sleep around. But I would say this, I would say that for women, I think for women, it's harder for you guys to just sleep around than a guy does. Because I do believe that for guys, like, we're more capable of having sex without being emotionally invested into the woman. Like I could have sex with a girl and totally have no emotion with her. But I do notice that for women, before you have sex with a man, most likely that you will have to be emotionally invested into him before you decide to have sex with them, if that makes sense. So I'm sure, of course, there are always guys and girls like they can both have sex without being emotionally invested. I've do met girls like that, but I do realize for most women, before they have sex with a guy, they have to be emotionally invested into him. And then for guys, we don't really have to be emotionally invested into a girl. Like we just, it's just in our nature to have sex. Like we just
stick it in wherever there's a hole.
We just have sex. So like I've been in the past where I've been with women where like I don't have no emotions for it. It was just purely just pleasure. It was purely just sex. But I don't know any females like that. That all the females I know in my life, before they choose to have sex with a guy, there has to be some kind of connection, emotional investment. Like if you want to keep it 100, like guys, we can walk outside. Any girl that wants to give us sex, we just happily take it. we just happily take it. But for girls, you guys can't do that. Like in order for you to have sex with a guy, there has to be some kind of emotional attachment or investment before you allow him to have sex with you. So so what was your question again? Like why do what?
It was so would it be that you pretty much answered it? Like would it be that guys are trying to avoid like emotions and feelings and heartbreaks, like trying to get over those, or they just want to do it like just to do it?
All I'm saying is no. What I would say is most. I mean, it's not. This is my personal opinion. And I think for guys, it's like I know a lot of healthy guys. Like there's nothing happening to them in their life. Like they're completely emotional stable. They're healthy, but they're single, but they just like having sex. Multiple, they just like to go out there and have sex. But for the girls that I know that are that have multiple sex partners and just going through the whole phase, just like the men that go through the whole phase. A lot of the girls I know that go through the whole phase, and most of them have gone through some kind of traumatic issue with their relationship with men in the past. I'm trying to think right now if I know a girl that is completely healthy and chooses to have multiple sex partners. I don't really know any girls like that, but I know guys. I have a lot of friends that are completely healthy. They're just having sex, and they're not even thinking about marriage. They're just enjoying their single time. But they're just having multiple sex partners, but they're completely healthy. There's no emotional trauma they're trying to hide or suppress from their past, and that's why they're just going out there and sleeping with multiple women. I would say it's for men is just like we don't need to be emotionally attached to a woman to have sex. But I know it's different for women because you guys are more the emotional gender. So for you guys, you have to be emotionally attached to a man. And for a lot of women that I know that are going through their whole phase, a lot of them have some kind of trauma they're dealing with. And that's why they're sleeping with multiple men. That's my answer to that question. Any of you guys want to jump into that?
The best way to get over one guy is to get under the another.
Talita? Yeah. Talita, any question? Any response to that?
That's not necessarily how I like to do it, but I mean, to each his own. I don't think I'm necessarily the poster child for typical. And to like close off. I do the opposite. I close off. So then I don't want to engage with anybody when I'm going like it. Instead of being like, hey, you know what? I want to sleep around with a whole bunch of people. I just cut everybody off. As far as men goes, I just don't want to deal with you guys, period, for a hot minute. And then once I have processed and dealt with it, then I'm willing to put myself out there and then start over in that sense. But you talked about the having sex and being healthy and stable, but not having emotional attachment.
Yeah.
From my own personal experience, I have found myself in a healthy situation where I have healed and I was fine and there was nothing wrong with me or anything like that. And I've chosen to engage. Now, I personally don't like this sleeping around with multiple partners. So I would rather have, I hate to use this term, but like a fuck buddy, but something that I know, kind of know. It doesn't mean I want to date you, because if I'm choosing you as a FB, that means there's potential for longevity. I'm looking for one thing and one thing only, and I know that that's going to mesh and that's going to work, and that will be that person. And now, and there was no emotional attachment from mine, but I did have to cut him off because of the emotional attachment that occurred. And then that awkward conversation of, hey, remember this was an agreement.
It's agreement.
That's why we don't do these things. That's why this is exactly what it is. You're done. Bye. Leave. Kind of, here's your wet wipe and have a nice day.
I actually kind of like agree to what Talita said, because, as much as I'm in my whole phase, like I'm super selective. Like it's really hard for me to just go out there and sleep with anybody, because like I value myself like more, like because like I wouldn't sleep with somebody if they don't like portray how intelligent they are and all of that. That still applies. Like, and I wouldn't really want to just sleep, like jump from one dick to another, so to speak. But like, I would prefer, and I don't really like calling them fuck buddy or friends with benefits. I prefer like a companionship, like somebody that you do have sex with, you do get to like do little dates with, but like you're not in something committed or exclusive. Which means like, for me, that keeps options open. Like if you do go through that initial phase and it goes into something else, then I'm open to it. But at the moment, like, don't tell me don't talk to other guys, don't do, none of that. Like enjoy your time while it's with me, while we speak, whatever. Just don't focus on anything else. Like whatever else is going on is like none of your business. So because I think that's what I'm looking for, because when I notice what I want from like a relationship, and it doesn't make sense to me to get into a relationship when what I'm looking for is available. So for example, like before I got into my like very recent relationship that ended, I was healing from a very, very abusive relationship. And then I was just slowly putting myself out there, and this guy just swooped in, like by the second date, asked me to be his girlfriend, and I was so overwhelmed, and like I just put myself out there. I was so super overwhelmed, and when I said no, like my automatic response was no, and then he was sad and he was upset and all that, and then like I started thinking about that out of pity and all that, and I was like, okay, yeah, let's give it a shot. But then when I think about it now, post breakup and all of that, it's like, what do I really want? Like, okay, I want somebody to go out with. I want somebody to talk to. I want somebody to have sex with. And I want somebody to, go on trips with, for example. Like Talita posted this thing where I related so much that, the next relationship, I want sex and trips. We're just going to be coming and going. And I love that. I posted that literally everywhere. I loved that so much. So, and then I was wondering, okay, if that is what I want, can I actually find that with the person without the relationship tag? Is it necessary for me to be in a
relationship? But don't you feel that's a situationship? What you're asking for? Because you're hoping for potential of a relationship, but you don't want the label. You don't want the attachment. You don't want the questions of what you're doing, not doing on your off time when you're not together. But you want to go on dates and you want to hang out and you want to fuck each other, but you don't want to be boyfriend and girlfriend yet. I'm just asking. I'm playing the devil's advocate. Is that not what it is? I mean, I hate to use that term. It's so millennial, whatever you want to call it. But I mean, I guess that's what they call it nowadays.
But
I've never like experienced a situationship, so maybe it is if it fits the bill. I don't know. So yeah, I don't really understand. Like, that's not something that computes here. Like in Sri Lanka, I've never really heard of that. But yeah, I mean, if that it is, like, I would just prefer Connie, because even if it doesn't like materialize into a relationship and we both just decide, okay, you know what, yeah, we had our fun, let's stop, it's fine with me. So because like I am the type of person who gets attached like emotionally really fast. Like if you're just ticking all my boxes and you're also like, you know, genuinely interested in getting to know me and stuff, I'm like, oh, like what is he doing? Or like I want to talk to him, you know, like that. So I just don't want to do that. I think that's also like part of trauma, because like when something happens to you and you know you go to that period where you shut down. Like I also shut down, like Talita said, like I shut down, like I don't want to talk to anybody. Like even like my guy friends, if they reach out to me and I'm like, no, like I don't want to talk to you at the moment, I'm sorry. So like that, I'm like kind of like shutting myself down to all of that. I'm trying to, because I mean, there's nothing wrong with attachment, but like I don't think it's healthy to be attached too fast. So now I just make it clear to the guys who talk to me, like, you know, and this is actually a question that I want to ask you. Is it okay if I mesh that in here or not?
Well, we'll just finish this topic, then you can ask your question. So anybody, go ahead.
Yeah, so like, you know, I just feel like, yeah, maybe it's a situationship. I don't know. Like as long as I'm not hurting anybody or they're not getting, you know, hurt, or like I'm not going after like a man who's taken or whatever, like anything goes at the moment. But definitely it can't be like sleeping around with like 10, 15 guys. I would prefer to have that one guy that I go to for all of that.
Yeah. I know Talita mentioned the friends, the fuck buddy, the friends with benefits. You know that never works out. Ever.
No, absolutely not.
Somebody always
Absolutely.
Someone always catches feelings.
Absolutely. It never works out.
Never works out. So, and also with
it's
the situation,
good idea, but it's never a good idea.
It's nice to just take advantage of it, get as many fuck buddy sessions as much as you can before he catches feelings.
Like it's 5 punches and that's all you get.
Yeah, you get 5 punches. So get those 5 punches in. But I would say with the situationship, right? So when I do meet people where they say they want everything that comes with relationship except the title and the commitment, right? You know, usually when I meet people like that, if that's what they're looking for, it's usually because they just came out of a bad relationship. Most like 99% of the time, right? Because usually if you're healthy, when you look for a partner, you are looking for a commitment and a title, right? But what I've noticed that when men or women, when I meet them and then they say, oh, I want everything out of a relationship, I don't want a title, then I know, oh, something happened. Something happened because the last time you committed to a person, the last time it was official, it didn't work out. So you don't want to go through that pain again. So it's much easier just to get all the benefits of a relationship, but not make it official, get the commitment, because if it doesn't work out, you can't relive that pain from the past. So
that's exactly wwhere I am. Like I just don't want to go through that again. Like I can't.
Just find yourself a fuck buddy.
I'm working on it.
All right. Yeah. So that was Anybody want to add to Christine's question? That was a great question, Christine. All right. Cool. All right. So Eesha, what's your question? I know you wanted to ask.
Okay, so I don't know if this is going to ruffle any feathers, but like,
rough them up.
Why do you guys, when they say they want something, it doesn't really stick to that? Like, I find like, you know, for example, whoever's talking to me right now, I directly ask them, what do you want out of this? Mm-hmm. Because I don't want to waste my time. I also don't want to like give you the, you know, hope of this is going to be a serious relationship. And they're all like, no, I'm not looking for anything serious. I am just, you know, just browsing. We can talk, we can hang out, see how it goes. And then we start getting into the talking phase. Mm-hmm. And maybe a week's passed. And now he's like, are you talking to other guys? like, are we exclusive? Like, I deleted Tinder for you. And I'm like, wait, but that's not what you said you wanted. So like when a woman asks you what you want, and do you initially just say something like no commitment or whatever because you just want to be like cool and don't want to freak her out, when you actually just want something else? Or like does it happen where you spend time with the woman and now like you're interested in her, so now you're starting to get invested? Like, what's up with that? Because that's something that's really bothering me right now.
So it sounds like I'm just trying to it sounds like what you're saying is like, how do you know if a man is showing interest or commitment? How do you know if a guy is committed to you? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're trying to ask?
No, like I said, like, okay, when we start off, I asked them what do they want. Yeah. And they would say something like, okay, you know what, like a friends with benefits situation. I don't want a relationship. But then after you speak to them for like a week or two, they start doing like relationshipy stuff. Like, like trying to check whether you're talking to other guys, trying to see whether you're still on Tinder, trying to see whether, you met up with someone else, or am I the only guy you're seeing? Like stuff like that doesn't really make sense with what they initially said. So like, why does that happen? Is that because when the girl asked you initially, you just want to appear cool and like you just want to like appear like, that you're not going to be emotionally invested in her, so like she doesn't get too attached to you, but then you get to know her and then you realize that you want something a little bit like more serious than you thought? Like, does that happen, or like what's that about basically?
No, so you're saying that you when you first talk to the guy, you guys are talking, and then a couple of weeks later he's asking questions whether you're talking to other guys, or is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like they initially say that this is not something that is going to involve attachment, and then now they're doing things that make it seem like they have formed an attachment, and now I'm just confused. So
it looks like it looks more, what it sounds like to me is trying to like control you. I don't know if that makes sense.
Okay.
Like he's trying to control you where he can get everything out of you. Like he can, like he wants you to be exclusive to him, but at the same time he doesn't want to be exclusive to you. Like,
yeah.
Because I do know a lot of guys like that. Like they want girls to be with them and be available with them, whatever whether it's dating, would have sex, but at the same time they don't want her to talk to anybody else, even though nothing's official. Do you guys know people like that? Where they want a situationship, but they don't want you to talk to anybody else, even though it's not an official relationship. But which is, I feel like that's more of a toxic people. People that they don't want to make it official. They don't want to commit to you, but at the same time they get jealous or they get mad if you talk to anybody else, which doesn't make sense because it's not official, because you're not making it official. Then why should you care about who you talk to? So that's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like to me is because somebody tells me, hey, let's just have a fuck buddy situation. Let's just have friends with benefits, but then you care about who I have sex outside of our little situation. No, that doesn't make sense. We're not in a relationship. We're not committed, but they do care. I think that's more for them. They're just either they're more toxic, or they're very controlling type of people. Like they just want to control the type of people they want to be with. What are your thoughts, Christine and Talita?
Does that mean though that like that men naturally have this tendency to be possessive and like have this idea of ownership? I don't know, like the girls can answer.
Well, the one thing I would say before I pass it on to Christine to Talita is when a guy is serious about you, like he will make it absolutely clear that because men are very, I know a lot of people hate this word, but like very territorial, especially with the woman he wants to be committed to. So when the guy is serious about you, he'll make it absolutely clear. Like, look, I want to be with you. I want to be long term with you. I don't want, like, you make it clear. Like, there's no confusion, right? If he doesn't make it clear, then he just wants sex. But if a guy doesn't make it clear, because for me, it's like, if I want to be serious with somebody, I will make you absolutely know, like, I want to make it serious. I want to be official. We'll make a boyfriend and girlfriend. I'm your man. You're my woman. I don't want you to be talking to anybody else. Like, they'll make it clear. If he hasn't said those things, then obviously for me, like, it's not serious, because men, when we can really care, we don't want, that's like, we want you and we don't want any other guy to talk to you. But if he hasn't made that clear, then I think he's just more like trying to get everything out of you, but he doesn't want to commit. That's what it sounds like to me. Talita, Christine, you want to add to that?
I have a question. So when that happens, like they tell you they want to be friends with benefits, but then they're asking you questions like, oh, who are you going out with? Or are you talking to other boys? Do you question them like, oh, you're not even my boyfriend and you didn't want anything serious, so why does it matter?
Yeah,
Like, why do you care?
You should. Yeah, because it's not.
Yeah,
official.
I generally say, well, that's not really any of your business, is it? Because when
Yeah.
I asked you initially, because when I asked like, do you want it to be exclusive? Do you want it to be open? Even if it's a fuck buddy situation or whatever, does that mean that
Yeah.
you only want me to have sex with you because you know you don't know what I'm doing and you don't want to catch anything, or whatever. Like make it very clear in the beginning when I ask you. But if you're gonna be like, no, it's okay, like you can do whatever you want, and then later on start questioning me when I don't reply to you, or whether I'm posting pictures from outside, like who are you with, and like shit like that, no, like that's not any of your business. Because if the dynamic has changed now, the right thing to do is sit me down and say, hey, Eesha, like, look, I know initially I told you this, but when getting to know you, like I've actually thought that I, would like this to be something exclusive or something, like do that. Like, then I'll be able to, like, if it's something that I'm on board with, then I'll be like, okay, yeah, all right. Then you'll be the only guy that I'm sleeping with, or you'll be the only guy that I'm going on dates with. But you don't make any of that clear. But now suddenly, like, you act like I'm your woman. Like, no, I just directly say that's none of your business. Like, that's not any of your business at all.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It's stupid to ask. Like, we're not in a relationship. Why are you asking me to?
But that's something that honestly happens a lot with the Sri Lankan guys here. Like, I've experienced that. And I don't know whether it's the cultural thing where men kind of here, like culture, just obviously getting a bit off dating, but like culturally, men are supposed to be the provider, men are supposed to be the guardian, men, all that still exists, although we do have some liberal ideas coming along in the cities. But that idea, that core idea that, when you're with a woman, this is your woman, and regardless of the title of the relationship, she shouldn't be with other guys, like that is something so common here. And I think that's why these guys like ask, like, like, why are you going out with this guy? Or like, even if you're with him on a date and you get like a message from Tinder, like that would actually like upset them. And you're like, why do I have to, like, control my life just because you don't know what you want?
I do have some friends that live in other countries, like especially in the Middle East. I have noticed that in other societies, other cultures, there's like if you're in the talking phase, they already consider that a relationship or something. Like in America, we know like it's not official until the guy. You add.
Yeah, exactly.
In America, it's not official until the guy and the girl makes it clear she wants to be the girlfriend. The guy says, "This I'm the boyfriend, you're the girlfriend," and you guys both agree, right? That's America. But I do realize in other countries, I have friends in overseas that if they start talking to you and they already see that as a relationship, even though you guys haven't formally agreed and made it official for other societies.
That is so true. Like, I swear to God, like that. I have this one guy who's talking to me. I haven't even met him because we are under lockdown restrictions and we can't even go out. But he's always like when I post a picture, he's like, mine, you're my baby, you're this, you're that. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, you haven't even seen me in person. Like, we're just talking. Why are you going around saying that, I'm yours and you're mine? And like, it's so creepy. Like, I don't think they understand the dating talking phase here. Like, honestly, I think that's the thing here, because like the moment you guys start talking, they think that you should be exclusive. And that's so hectic, to be honest.
But that's how it was back in the very old traditional societies, right? Like back in the day, if you talk to a girl back like, I guess the great grandparents' days, when you talk to a girl, it's already official.
Yeah, I feel like if I was like back then, like when you're just writing letters and shit, I would just write the same letter, different names, and just send like 5.
So I guess that's more of like a Sri Lanka thing. Like, those guys out there, they get a get a girl to talk to you, they're already excited. Oh, that's my woman. I do notice it in other countries. I know that, but not here in America. I don't notice that. I don't see that here in America.
I need to move. That's what the fuck I need to do.
America, we're all playing games. America, everybody's playing games.
Get that. We don't. Everybody stays in their lane.
Yeah, America, everybody's playing games, so it's like everybody knows it's not official until it's official. Even if it is official, you're still trying to figure it out. You're still trying, even if you're official, you're trying to figure out if the official is official.
Like, is this legit? Like legit? Are we really?
Is this official? Is this official?
Are we dating? Are we in a relationship?
Dating? Yeah. Are we dating? Are we dating or dating? That's America.
What's in the fine print?
Yeah. All right, that was a good question. Yeah, Talita, what's your question, Talita?
Okay, so only because this has been happening a lot. Why do really young guys, and I say really young guys, because for example, okay, I don't know, it seems to be like the trend, like the new thing.
Yeah.
Everybody, the younger men think it's cool, or it's like the cool thing to say that they're into what they call a cougar or a puma or whatever category animal they want to put us in. And just to be clear, I would be a puma because I'm not old enough to be a cougar, but okay. but like they're like 21, 22, 23. And I'm like, no, like what makes you think that I hate to say older, but a more mature or whatever. If I'm 10 years older than you, what do we have possibly in common? No offense. I mean, like you might be a really nice person, but I'm not really looking for another man. I like a man baby. I'm not looking for a child. I'm not saying that all 23-year-olds are immature or every single 20-year-old is not with it. There are some mature ones, but the reality of things is we're not going to have a lot of things in common because life in 10 years is a lot of time. Mm-hmm. I've gone through a lot of things. I'm not saying everybody goes through the same things in 10 years, but I've been through a lot myself. So for me, my question is like, when a guy looks at me, like what makes them think that, is there a label on my head that says, hey, I want to date a 23-year-old? Because I don't freaking get it. Like they all keep coming and I'm like, I have kids, I have a business, I have all this stuff. What makes you think that I want to get involved with you? Is it just that they're thinking, oh, she has multiple kids, so she must be easy, she must put out a lot? Is that the vibe that I'm giving? Or is it just a misconception because of the new phase, a new fad that's going on, that it's cool to date older women? Which of those two things is it? Is it both, maybe? I don't know.
No. That's actually a good question. The one thing I would say is like what social media has done is it's kind of like just deregulated like the sexual marketplace, where you have unlimited options of what you want to be, who you want to be with, right? That's what social media has done. It's opened the doors for any type of woman, any type of thing that you're looking for. And of course, for most young guys, what's the one thing a young guy is thinking about in a woman? Having sex, right? So I would say it is like for now, like because of social media, it's opened up opportunities and doors where you can have access to anybody. So for a lot of guys, like I said, when they look at somebody's profile, they're not even digging that far ahead. Like you said, you mentioned kids. You look at the 10-year gap. Look at the kids I have. I guarantee you, most guys aren't even thinking about that. All they see is like you're an attractive woman. You have a killer body. You got some guns, some nice legs, and you're killing it. You have a nice body. So I guarantee that's all they're looking at. And of course, social media, it has eliminated guys' ability to fear rejection. So for a lot of guys, if they see something like we see something shiny, we see something beautiful, sexy, we're just gonna send it. We're just gonna send a DM. And whether or not you reply, whether or not we're gonna reject it, doesn't matter because social media, it's different. I guarantee you it would have been different if they saw you in public. I guarantee you they would have been approaching.
That's another thing. Why is it? And that probably is the same answer.
Yeah.
Why is it so hard for somebody to? Whether it could be an attractive guy, but it's very far and few that a guy has the balls to approach me and say, "Hey," and start a conversation and show interest.
Yeah.
They'll look. I can see you're looking just like everybody else looks. Not being pompous or arrogant. I'm saying like because people stick out. I stick out more than a typical person.
Yeah.
So I see you're looking, but you won't come and say anything to me. But if you were to find me online on one of the social media platforms, why do these guys that, I hate to use this word, like some of the ones that that they're not your type and they would never have a chance.
Yeah.
it's almost like it elevates them to be like, hey, you know what? I don't care. I'm going to shoot my shot regardless.
Because social media has limited getting the rejection.
And that's what I feel like.
Yeah. Because social media, like, even if a girl rejects you, it's through text. You know, it's not as hurtful as approaching you in real life and telling you directly, you know, I don't want to be with you, or say no in public, right? That's more humiliating. So for social media, like I say, everybody, you know, people on social media, it gives everybody the confidence to, because there's no rejection no more, they can just send a message. And whether you're not, like, there's no, you don't have to deal with the rejection on social media. In real life, you have to.
Say nasty things too.
Huh?
That's also why guys and girls will say derogatory remarks or offensive things or hurtful things, or even things that are like what we consider crude or rude or disrespectful. And I'm not saying just about like, hey, I want to do this to you, but also like, oh man, you're juiced up, you look like a dude, or whatever they want to say, whether it's about your appearance or your content or whatever. That we have the internet trolls now because it disconnects that like you said, that emotional attachment of feeling hurt or
a confrontation.
The confrontation or the conflict of where would that really say that to your face if they were saying it?
Exactly. It eliminates the rejection, eliminates the confrontation, eliminates any kind of accountability on their part, right? Because they can say whatever they know to say without accountability. You know, if you say that to my face, I will hold you, as accountable based on what you say. That's a different situations, but social media has eliminated that. That's why guys, they don't care. But if you're 40, 50, 60, if you look sexy, they're gonna send that shot. They're gonna send that shot. That's just modern day dating. That's just social media for you. That's just how it is now, right? Even older guys, like even older women, right? Older women, older guys, they send DMs to the young girls, the younger guys, right? That's what so vice versa. It happens in both ways, from the younger to the older, even to the older to the younger. Because older guy wouldn't approach like a young 18, 19-year-old girl, because if an older guy does it in public, it might look a certain type of way. It's gonna look look bad. But if you're doing on social media, on the DMs, nobody knows. So that's what social media has done. So you're definitely gonna have, as long as you have social media, Talita, guys are gonna keep it.
If I see the picture, I just delete it. I don't even open it no more because I give up on that. Like.
Yeah, but I mean, Talita, like that booty though, girl.
you got those legs.
I'm like, oh man, like, and then my thought is like, because I want sometimes, I'm a really good, nice person. Like I like everybody. I'm outgoing, whatever. So I try not to respond with like nastiness back, but once in a while I do stoop down to that level. And sometimes like my thought is like, I really wish I could just stalk you in the face, but I can't because I don't know where you are. So I have to just let it go. But I have to also, the flip side of that is what you said. If you have social media, you're putting yourself out there.
Yeah, of course.
The bad and ugly, and that's okay. It is what it is. It's part of it. You're not going to be able to please everybody. Just let it go. If I was to get stressed out every time somebody sent me a dick pic, or somebody said I look like a man, or I must be taking steroids, or my whatever negative, nasty thing they can say, or maybe there's something wrong with me because obviously I have this many kids and no guy stays, or whatever. Think what you want to think, assume what you want to. At the end of the day, as long as I'm happy, that's all matters.
Okay.
That's all.
I think that kind of like brings to my mind this principle that I live by, that I think, I don't know who I got it from, but like the people who mind don't matter, and the people who matter don't mind.
Yep.
So you just continue to be you, and the people who are supposed to be in your circle will remain there, and whoever is not supposed to will just fall off.
Yep, until you find the right guy.
Yeah. And I think it's really funny. I don't know, it's really funny to me when like younger guys like hit you up and they just talk. They talk so big, like I'm about like be able to blow your mind, and like you will. Yeah, like you'll be able to walk when I'm done with you, and you just know they're gonna like.
You're like, I'm
out
too
in
much
like
stand for your little wagon. Settle down.
Yeah, like like you have no idea. They're always gonna tap out in like a minute, and you're just gonna be like, well, that was disappointing. So,
how dare you have to check out that box that was your good deed for the year.
Yeah.
Hey Talita, I do want to ask you, have you ever like seen a young guy and thought about it? You know what? Entertain it? No, never.
No, only time that ever happened to me is I was talking to a guy, like I'm at a party, wasn't even like a barbecue, okay? Not even like a party. And I thought the gentleman was near my age bracket.
Yeah.
Like he legit looked like a grown man. Like I don't know how to say it. He didn't talk like a little boy, like none of that. And then all of a sudden when my girlfriends pulled me aside, she's like, you know who that is, right? And I'm like, no, I mean, I don't know I forgot his name. And she's like, oh, his name's so-so, but that's not the point. She's like, he's like 15 years younger than you. And I was like, excuse me? Like, I'm like, how old is he? Like, I was fucking baffled. Like, are you serious? Like, he has a full beard, like, and some gray. Like, I'm so confused. Like, how, like, it was God's cruel joke to me because I was like salivating and thinking this was amazing. And all of a sudden I felt like a pedophile and I was not about that one. I was just like, no. But no, I can appreciate a good looking guy, a young good looking guy, and be like, wow, he's attractive. The same way, at the same level that I can appreciate another female and be like, wow, she's really beautiful. Look at her eyes and look at whatever. I'm not going to lie. If I had a partner, I probably would be like poke, like, check this out, because I can appreciate it. Doesn't mean I want any of it. Just means I think it's pretty. But no, I've never had any desire to.
Since we're talking about age, I want to ask you ladies, what's the youngest are you willing to date? And be honest. Don't give me the political correct answer.
The honest age, 30.
30. Okay, all right. 30.
That's 4 years
26.
younger?
Yes.
30. 29? No? 29?
No, just a push. It's getting too low.
So 30 is the cutoff for you. 30 is the cutoff.
30 is my cutoff.
Okay, what about you, Christine? What's your cutoff?
So the guy I'm with right now, he's actually 2 years younger. So I'm 25. And even like just thinking about someone being 21 is like, that's too young. So I think I would cut it at 23. 23? Okay. And then 23 is too young. All right, cool. And then Eesha, what about you? What's your cutoff?
I'd say like 27, 28 and above. Like, I mean, some of the guys who talk to me are younger than me, but like, they come off mature and like you can have a conversation, but sometimes it just pops up, like, like something that is relevant to their age that they're not mature enough. It just comes up, like, suddenly something immature comes up and you're like, like, okay. It just goes into like, my body is attracted to you, but my mind gets pissed off when you speak, like, so like, yeah, so I would prefer, if I'm to settle down, if I'm having fun with somebody, as long as they're mature, can hold a conversation, then I'm fine with dating someone like two years or something younger than me. But if I really want to settle down now, I used to have the idea that I don't really care about age as long as they're mature, but now I feel like somebody who's at least from 2 years older to me upwards, I'm fine.
Okay. What's too old for you?
Good. Yeah.
What's too old for me?
Like, what's the oldest you would date? What's the oldest would you guys date?
I would say, okay, so this is a bit of a cultural thing. So most like marriages and stuff in Sri Lanka, like they kind of have, sometimes you would find like a 10-year age gap. Especially like, back in the day, like my grandmother was married to somebody who was like 15 years older than her when she was 15. My mother and my dad, they have like a year gap. Like my best friend, one of my best friends and her parents, there's a 10-year gap. Like that, it differs. So I'm okay to go up to like 35, maybe 35
years apart. 35 years apart. Dang, that's a great.
No, like a guy who's 35. Jesus.
No.
Unless by like some weird miracle I decide to be a sugar baby. But I would go like a guy. Yeah, my cutoff would be someone who's like 35 or 36.
Okay, what about you, Talita? What's your cutoff?
Which I'm going to reference what she said about the culture thing. In Brazil, all my grandparents, like my mom, my dad, my stepmom and my dad, like they all have 10 years, 11 years, 12 years gap in between them. Like it's normal, it's common. Even now, I mean, now there's a lot of this closer ages too. It's not like traditional or whatever, but I don't like that for me. Like I think that's a little too much. I think like 7, like 5 to 7 years.
5, 7 years, okay.
That's a good bracket as far as like how far I want to take it, because not that I think they're too old. It's just, I just think at that point, like they've also lived a little bit more, and I want to be, there's certain things that I want to do where I find that men that are a little upper in their 40s, like towards the end of it, they're more chill and they don't want to do the extracurricular activities.
Yeah. The young
You know,
people,
like-
yeah.
Yeah, the young people want to go with, and
Turn up the club and stuff.
no clubbing, but like even like going out, like I look at my dad and his wife, like for example, if there's that big gap, like my dad wants to be a homebody and she wants to still go out, and I'm like, well, that's because you guys have this much. I'm not saying that there can't be a older gentleman and a younger girl that have stuff like that in common, they want to, but I don't know, it's different lifestyle. I think as you age, it's a natural progression for people to slow down or like certain things or have certain interests. I don't want my partner to be interested in playing bingo and I want to freaking go to the beach. So
I think 5 years is like a good age, like an age gap between two people. I think
I saw a survey. I read a survey that they asked a majority of women like what was the age that they prefer when it came to dating older men. I think the average was like 5 years. That was like for most women.
Yeah, I think
they prefer 5 years was like the average. What about you, Christine? What's the oldest?
I agree with all of you guys because we have the same thing in my culture. It's up to 10 years, but I also agree, like, I think that's a little bit too much too. Like, for me, the oldest I've kind of talked to is like 31. And I think like that's my cutoff.
31. Okay. All right. And the last question before I ask another, this is a spicy question for you guys. So I know you all said the cutoff for dating, but what is the cutoff when it's just friends with benefits having sex? Does it, there's an age limit? Does it matter? If it's just having sex with the guy, does age matter?
For me, I'm just gonna go first because like for me it does. Like because for me it's not just about the sex, it's also about the conversation and like, you know, how I hang out with them and stuff. So if it's somebody who's like 21, who's like the biggest thing they want to do is like go somewhere nice and do a TikTok, I'm gonna be like, sorry mate, I'm out. Like, you know, but like someone, I don't know, maybe, so I'm 26, so maybe someone like 25, like I can go like 1 or 2 years younger in terms of like sex, but like I wouldn't go like, you know, 18, 19, even though I do get hit up by that age bracket a lot.
Hey, you never
I
know.
just no, I don't want to explore that. No.
Just try it out. What about you guys, Talita, Krista? Does it, if it's just purely sex, no attachments, no commitment, does it matter?
Okay, I'll hang out with you just purely the physical. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to care about that.
Yeah,
Part. I'm not going to question your age.
Yeah.
I'm going to care about your it's going to be about your performance. Let's just be honest. It's gonna be about your, like, how much experience you have, what you know, because it has to match. I don't want to be a teacher. I don't want to have to take you to grad school on that. Sorry.
Got you.
If you're 19 and you're super skilled and know all the things, cool. Then let's do it. But if you're 18, I got to teach you everything from the basic. Nah, hard pass on that one.
Okay.
But as far as being older too, I don't care. Like, does your wing work? How many rounds can you go? Like, let's ask the real. I mean, if that's what I'm going for, those are the things I'm going to care about. Not like that you want to go, I don't know, go to the casino at noon later. I don't care what you're going to do. So
if you're older, just get those pills ready.
Yep. Just don't die. Just don't die.
Hold on. We're almost there.
Like, I swear to God, I didn't squeeze his head with my thighs. That was not what happened.
Got him in a deadlock.
I love that. Like, your energy is so much like mine. It's ridiculous.
I'm trying to be good here.
All right, cool. All right, so I know, I know Christine asked a question. Hey, Talita, do you have another question for us?
A question for you.
For all of us. Yeah, for all of us. I know you had multiple questions. So what's another
I had
question?
one I thought about and I forgot about, but hold on. Give me a minute to remember.
Okay. What about you, Eesha? All right, we'll come back to you. Aisha, do you have another question you wanted to ask?
Okay, I do have like a sex related question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So like basically, when guys think of, who they want to have sex with, is it purely physical, or like, just like other things, like what they do, what their personality, like, does that matter, or is it just like depending on what age the guy's at?
No, it's just purely physical. Yeah, it's purely
Right.
physical. Unless you're a girl he wants to commit to. So the girl that he wants to commit to is different from the girl he just wants to have sex with. So if he's not looking for commitment, if he's not looking for marriage, then it's purely physical. Yeah, that's all he cares about. Depending on what he looks for, depending on what he finds attractive. But if he's somebody he wants to commit to and he wants to make it official, take you serious, then he would require more than the physical.
Okay. Do guys like get, how girls get digmatized? Like, does that happen to guys?
Oh, a girl that has a good pussy?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you ever got that WAP, yeah, that's we're gonna definitely gonna come back. We're definitely gonna come back. We're definitely gonna come back to that. So same thing. Yeah, if you got it going on, yeah, it's gonna be a repeat. Right.
Okay. Cool.
If he's not if you got some good WAP, but he's not looking for commitment from you, he will show you more attention than the average girl, even though he's not looking for commitment. If you're really good at sex, like he will, he will show you a little bit more attention. But for guys, it's purely sex. Yeah.
I have a great question to add to that. So what if if they start with friends with benefits, just start that way, like they're not sure if they want something like serious, a relationship, but then they obviously have sex and let's say they love the pussy, whatever, like they want more. So is that would that be a factor that they're like, okay, I like the sex, so I want to be in a relationship with that person?
I would say guys would do that. I would say guys would use a relationship as a way to make sure he only has that to himself, if that makes sense. I mean, if he's I mean, what I have noticed for guys is the type of women that guys really commit to is when they not only they have great sex, but they also add more value besides the sex. Because sometimes, there's a lot of girls out there that that's all they have is sex. I'm sure you guys, they're like, you guys probably know some girls like that, that like they're really good at sex, but beyond that, there's nothing else they add. Like they're like Eesha said, you met some guys that are dumb. There's some girls out there that just got nothing up here, right? And it's no out of value. So the one thing I would say for guys to commit to a woman is not only that you guys enjoy sex, but also when you can add value to his life beyond sex, he sees that you're loyal, you can take care of him, whether you cook, you clean, I mean those things that men typically look for and they really appreciate from a woman. That's when a guy really starts to look beyond the sex. And that's the type of girl I really want to be in my life. The sex is, I'm not a lifer. Like if you, that's a good start. It's a good start. It is a good start. Okay, I can work with this. She's really good at bed. We enjoy, have fun. But you guys all know this already, right? Doesn't matter how good the sex is. Over time, it loses its, I guess, its spark. It's not as, I mean, you guys can keep it pushing, but if you're basing your relationship based on sex, you guys realize when you get in a relationship, after a while, after like 6 months, a year, 2 years, having sex is just another thing that you do, but it's not something that it's like mesmerizing. Like it's going to be the reason why you keep her. if that makes sense, you know, because
I think that goes both ways though.
Yeah,
I
both, it
think
goes both
women
ways. Yeah,
also
yeah.
like, you know, but like just based on something you just said, is the ability to cook something that guys look for in women?
Yeah. I mean, I know a lot of women's like, you know, for guys, it's like it's great to have a woman that can cook. You know, it just feels good to go to work and come home and then there's a home cooked meal from the woman you love. It's some of the things that just hella cool. It's just we really appreciate. And yeah, cooking. I mean, cooking. I always tell girls like cooking is one of that's something that's a plus for me. If the girl can cook, you know, so that's a big plus for me. She can cook. I mean, I can cook myself. You know, my mom taught me how to cook, but to see her she can cook, that's a plus. That's a plus. I'm sure there's things that guys like. I think cooking is like for women is like when men are very have chivalry. Is like when they very have manners and like they do I guess they open doors or I don't know. Do you guys like what men that are like very chivalrous? Like they like open doors for
Yeah,
you?
I don't equate cooking. Like for me, the equivalent to cooking would be that you're handy around the house.
Yeah,
Like,
that would be that'd be a better one. Yeah, that's a better example. Yeah, so cooking is like a handyman from men.
Plus.
Yeah, it's not necessary. I'm sure you guys can take care of yourself in your own house, but if a man can do all the handyman jobs around their house, that's definitely a plus. Yeah. So you guys, let me ask you guys, can you guys all cook? Don't lie.
No.
Yeah. I cook a lot. God.
Talita, you cook? Of course,
Yeah.
What she bakes.
You got the meal prep. You got the meal prep plan.
Yeah, all that. Yeah, the healthy and the not healthy. I got that nailed down.
Christine,
which one do you want, fat or skinny?
Both. Christine, do you cook?
No, I can do like bare minimum stuff, but no.
What's bare minimum?
Like I can make salads and like grilled chicken and just small things like that, but I can't make like a full meal. Like I need to learn.
Oh, that's a way more than the average modern girl today. Like you can make salad and grilled chicken. Some girls can't even do that.
I'll take that.
2 minute noodles. That's not cooking. A child can do it. I can teach a 5-year-old kid.
Noodles.
A child can do that. But yeah. Anyway, yeah. So any of you guys, as we come to at the end of the podcast, do you guys have any questions? Any last questions? We're going to talk about it before we conclude.
Talita, did you remember your question?
Yeah, Talita, you remember your question?
I didn't remember my question, but I thought of another question. I know it was something I wanted to ask. I'll remember it later. My mom brain works like that. Okay, so it's only because like there's stuff that's happened, so that's why it's like, oh, let me just ask this right here. Okay, so I have TikTok. It's been I even feel like the TikTok thing, like I'm not sure about how I feel about it sometimes. Okay, so why? How do I word this? Okay. Okay. So I don't think I'm dumb, and I think I'm pretty well-rounded and well-versed in a variety of things. I try to be just like she said, you know, like try to know a little bit about everything, so that way when somebody asks me about a subject, I have something to add to it or say about it. If I don't, then I honestly have no issue saying, hey, I don't actually know anything about that. But I would like to talk about that to you later, so I'll actually research it and then we can talk about it, kind of thing. Why does it seem like most guys, I'm not saying everybody, they don't know how to have a conversation outside of the basic? And that was one of the big things for me as far as like disqualifying people. They had all these other great characteristics or attributes or whatever you want to call it, like all these boxes checked off, like career, this, that. But when it came to actually talking, it wasn't that they were dumb. Some of them I felt that they were intimidated or maybe an introvert. I don't really know what could have been, a bunch of things. I just don't know. But I felt it very common. Like a lot of guys that had a lot of great stuff. I just could not tolerate the lack of communication.
They couldn't stimulate you mentally.
Yeah, they just could not. Like they couldn't have a conversation outside of like, so what'd you do today? Okay, well, I did this. What'd you do today? This. Crickets. Like, where's the rest?
Are these the older guys or younger guys?
Oh my God.
No, and that's what I'm saying. It wasn't older or younger. Like it was like, I mean, like I told you, I got a lot of young guys for some reason recently, but I also found that also older guys were doing that. They would ask me how are your kids doing? And I'm like, oh, they're doing great. Thanks for asking. And I kind of left it at so that I could see what they, instead of me giving them an open-ended question so that they could answer an open-ended question, I left it at, I answer your question, period. Now you have to come up with something to talk about. What do you want to talk about? So that they have to engage. They can't engage.
Yeah.
And even on actual physical dates where you would actually get to the date and sit down at dinner or whatever, or to have a drink and you start talking. If I wasn't leading constantly the conversation and asking the questions and keeping the momentum going, it would have been nothing. And then at the end of the day, they're like, oh man, I had a fantastic night. And I'm thinking, I'm fucking talked out. I don't even want to see you again. Like this was like pulling teeth and I'm exhausted because I had to mentally stimulate you and me the whole fucking time. You bring nothing. Like you're beautiful. You got a great job. You know, all these, you like kids. You don't want to have kids. Great, great, great. Check, check, check. You suck at talking. I don't want to talk to you. I'm not asking for them to talk as much as a fucking girl, but like, I don't know. Dialogue is important.
Yeah, I think that's a good question. Yeah, I would say this, especially in today's social media dating culture. I think because we're not talking, and I think a lot of people lack social skills now. I don't know if you've seen it. People lack social skills,
That's
communication.
probably.
You know, back in the day, you know, in order to talk to somebody, you really had to talk to somebody. So you did that repetitively, so you learn that skill. But now a lot of people don't even. I've known people where they've been in a relationship, like they'll talk for like 6 months to a year with somebody they haven't even met yet, but they're just talking. So it's easy to text, but in a real life conversation, you have to think, because in the text message, you get to read the message, you take time to think, and then respond, right? But
That's probably it, yeah.
But in real life, you don't have that. You don't have time. You have to like just reciprocate. You have to think on the fly. You have to be able to have a conversation, and that's when the mental stimulation comes in mind. Your level of capacity to be able to hold a conversation comes to place. And I know a lot of people today, both men and women, people don't have that no more. I will speak on the men's side. Is for a lot of guys, you know, I'm talking about the male perspective, is when we go out with the woman, like we don't want to fuck it up. So sometimes we put too much pressure, because you guys know we have to pursue you. You guys are the prize, right? We have to initiate everything, right? You know, we have to ask you out. We have to take you on a date. So in our mindset, we just don't want to fuck this up because we're trying to get you. So a lot of times we put too much pressure on ourselves. So we want to be perfect in everything. So like sometimes we don't want to say something because we don't want to fuck it up. So it's better off not to say anything, and hopefully she likes us by the end of the day.
Like the turning in his head of him like wanting to say, and I'm like, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, because you guys have to leverage, because we have to impress you, because in order for us to get a second date, you have to agree, right? We have to impress you in order for this to continue, right? So in our standpoint, like sometimes a lot of guys, you know, especially guys that don't have social skills, they don't have experience, they don't have the confidence, you know, they come in a scarcity mindset that they're afraid to lose you, and they want to impress you so much that the pressure that they just don't, they want to say everything so perfectly. And then even if you have a conversation with them, it's going to be like really simple answers, because we're just afraid we might say something, and then you might take it the wrong way. You may not like it, and that might cost us the date. So it's better off with just, for a lot of guys, that's why you see a lot of guys like that. They won't engage in conversation because they lack the social skills and confidence to handle that type of conversation, or they just, like I said, they're like I said, I've been there. I've been dates like that. I've been with a girl, and I have all these things I want to say, and in my mind, like if I say this, I might sound like stupid. I might sound like a dumb. If I talk about, that's funny in my mind. Is like if I really tell her how I really feel, especially with whatever topic she brings up, I'm just afraid that she might think I'm a dork, I'm weird, I'm stupid, we don't have the same interests, and she might lose attraction for me. And of course, rejection, you guys don't go through rejection because you guys can choose whether or not to continue that guy, to keep seeing him. And for a lot of guys, rejection sucks, especially if you go on a date.
True. I don't find that true. I've gone on dates, and I will say it has happened obviously more than I've not been interested in.
Yeah.
It's happened a few times, like, I mean, more than 5. So that's a few to me.
Yeah.
Where they have been like, oh, I really like you, but I don't like this about you, or you're too much, or I was interested in you, but after knowing more about you, I don't think that we mesh as far as what I'm looking for and what you're looking for.
Yeah.
I thought it was, but it's not. So I've had that, and I won't lie, where I've thought, through the day, like, oh, wow, I really like this person. I hope there is going to be a second date. And then they say that, and you're, oh, fuck, you don't feel the same. But I also respect, and I think it comes with maturity.
Yeah.
I would rather somebody not waste my time and tell me, hey, I doesn't mean you're a bad person, just means that that's not your person, and it's okay, you didn't click. But wouldn't you rather know now than 6 months down the road when you're emotionally invested and you really freaking like him, and he tells you, you know what, I should have not dated you because I dated you out of pity because I just whatever, and I was hoping I was going to get feelings for you, but I don't really like you.
Yeah. So I think that's why a lot of guys don't really. Yeah, we're just like, for a lot of guys, especially if they don't have the communication skills and the social skills and confidence to handle a conversation, they're just afraid to fuck it up and mess it up. And a lot of times with guys, the things we're interested in, I literally, the things we like to do are probably not even the same things that you guys may like to do. So like a lot of things that we're interested in is probably like, if we bring it up in a conversation, especially in the first date, for a lot of girls that may be a turn off. So for a lot of guys, we just want to play it safe. So that's my answer to that. What do you guys think? Eesha,
if I can add something there.
Go ahead.
I feel like sometimes, okay, so I'm not a person who likes hookup culture, and I'm not a person who likes the social media dating situations as well. I'm also not someone who likes to text a lot. I would prefer like a call or one-on-one conversations. Mm-hmm. And it's really hard to find somebody who matches that. Like, who's somebody who would much rather call you than, because sometimes like it's the same thing, like Talita said, it's like, hey, how was your day? Hey, how are you doing? But there's nothing else that's kind of making me want to continue the like tell me about what you think. Like, for example, like very recently in my country, the president just pardoned a murderer. And and that day, like if a guy is actually interested in like actually having conversation with me, talk to me about how you feel about that. Like, what do you think about that? Instead of just asking like, oh, I had such a stressful day, how was yours? I'm going to go to sleep in like 15 minutes. I'm like, I mean, not to sound rude, but I don't really give a shit. Just like talk to me. And I find that's really hard to like manage now, because I feel like people have just gotten used to like expressing how they like you by double tapping or sending a heart, something like, like nobody really does that conversation thing anymore. Gives you something that, because the thing that would make me give someone a second date is it's like the quality of conversation on the first date. Because I'm not about to just like, jump into bed with you just because you like double tapped on my picture and said that I have a big ass. Like, like, no. And I feel like that's something that really, I feel like if you have quality conversation, that is something that will see longevity in the relationship. Because like sex, the attraction, how you look, all of that is going to die down at some point. And then what do you have left? Like what do they intellectually stimulate you? Are they emotionally available to talk about your problems? Because I'm not a person who likes to talk about my problems. I handle so many, but I never talk about my own. But I would like to have that option, knowing if my partner is going to be emotionally eloquent enough to like handle it if something happens. instead of being like, oh no, like look at this, let me send you like puppy videos or let me send you a meme to make you feel better. No, talk to me. I mean, that does work sometimes.
My shopping cart is that in the shopping cart because of that specific reason. That was the biggest and most valuable selling point for me.
Exactly.
Is the
And
fact that
perhaps I feel, yeah, go on.
No, go ahead.
No, perhaps I feel that is also like where the woman is in her life. Because I know some girls who I do have friends who are quite younger than me because of my Twitter presence and stuff. So I get to know. See, that what I want, like the level of conversation and quality, that's not something that really applies to them. For them, it's like, where does the guy take them out? They get to take pictures of some fancy food, and that's a great date for them. But for me, even if the guy takes me out and we don't have like a conversation I'm going to remember later on, I'll just like feel like I need to add when I get home. Like, that's like a meh date for me. So maybe it's like also where the woman is, because I feel like Talita and I like, might be at a place where we just value that conversation, because I don't want to waste my time. I'm not here to just mess around and whatever. Like, I'm here to actually see whether you're worth investing in. And if you're not giving me proper communication or conversations that are going to leave a lasting impression, then what am I even doing here? Like,
I would say this. I would say for you ladies, like, don't judge a guy on the first date, because I know a lot of guys, they want to impress you so much, and they're not as confident. So, and they just want to impress you. So maybe they're just nervous. A lot of guys are just nervous. I'm sure you guys have gone on dates before and you guys have been nervous. I don't know, maybe your first couple of dates in the beginning when you first dated. There are a lot of guys out there, they're just nervous. Especially on the first date, especially if they really like you. One thing, like, if they really like you, the more they like you, the more nervous they are. So maybe give him like 2-3 dates and let him be a little bit more comfortable with you and let him come out his shell, and then make a decision. But that's something I would extend to you guys, because I do know a lot of guys. I mean, I know a lot of guys. They just don't have game. They can't hold a conversation. Not because they can't hold a conversation. Maybe they were just nervous on the first date because they saw you. They're very, very attracted to you. They're enamored. They're, oh my God, Eesha, that's the girl I want. That's my dream girl. Oh my God, I found her. And then they finally get on a date with you, and then they probably never thought they could get on a date, and you agree that they're like, oh my God, she said yes, right? And his mind is like, oh fuck. And then he's just super nervous. And maybe that's like I said, I know I've been there before where I'm just super nervous. And then maybe the second and third, and thank God she gave me a second and third chance. And then the second and third date, I was able to like, okay. She agreed for a second date. She agreed for a second date. Okay. This can happen. This is possible. And gave me more confidence to open up a little bit more. So that's all I'm saying is, a lot of guys, because you guys are the emotional type. You guys are the more expressive type. You guys are the women. You guys like to express. From men, we're the opposite. We're inward. We like to keep it in. It's really, really hard for us to express ourselves unless they have that skill. They have that social skill. They've learned that. But most guys don't. Most guys don't have social skills like that to meet any woman and be able to stimulate her mind and have to hold a conversation. That's a skill they have to learn through experience. That's why you see older guys tend to be more conversational, tend to be more stimulated, and can hold a conversation. But if you're talking about younger guys, early 20s, 25s, even the late 30s, because when I was younger, I wasn't able to I could barely hold a conversation with a woman, but through experience and through learning, through growth, through maturity, now, and to learn that skill, now I can do it. So I'm just saying is, give it 2-3 dates, ladies. Give it 2-3 dates.
But like it gets like super annoying when you have to drive the whole conversation, the whole date, and by the end of it, you're like exhausted because you're trying to find topics and shit.
Just give him 2-3 days to warm up. We're different. We're different. We need to warm up.
I'm not going to 3.
All right, 2. I can do 2.
Few chances, but like after that, nah.
Like Talita, you already know when you max out, you gotta warm up first. You know what I'm saying? Before you max out, you gotta warm up.
They have to warm up on the stairs. 2, okay? I give myself like 10 minutes to warm up. I'm going.
Yeah. Let us warm up the first date and build our confidence, and then, all right, we'll max out on the second date.
I do want to say one thing too, guys. Like, if any guy does listen to this,
I'm
sick and tired of seeing girls on social media and everywhere saying that, oh, we don't like the nice guys. No.
We love the nice
I
guys.
hate freaking assholes. The pompous, the overly arrogant, the ones that you guys idolize, like the bad boys. F those. Like, I don't want that shit. Like, that's just garbage. That's literally a pile of shit covered in glitter and sprinkles. Like, I don't fucking want it. The moment I touch it, it's gonna turn to shit. Yeah. I want the guy that's nice, that has substance, that actually gives a fuck, that's gonna match my energy, my effort. Like you were talking about, like that. I don't want a guy that I pour all myself into, and then like as soon as he finds out, like, she's hooked, she's here, and then it flips the script and like treats me like trash or disengages and doesn't care. Like, and this is the other mind blowing thing. How can a guy that maybe he would see himself as not in your league, but obviously you found interest later, that he actively pursued you and made you end up liking him, then all of a sudden, once you decide you do like him and you date him a short amount of time, they turn around and be like, never mind, I don't like you anymore. I'm gonna go back to my ex-girlfriend. The fuck? Like, so you're gonna go back to that? I'm so confused. Like, what happened? And then they tell you there's nothing wrong with you, but they go back to the person that treats them like garbage. It's mind blowing. It's fucking mind blowing.
If they went back to the ex, that means they haven't fully healed from their ex.
Exactly. Yeah. But why would you so like persistent and like crazy obsessive pursue somebody to get them to like you and to actually engage with you and whatever and have feelings for you then to do that? Like, why would you? I don't fucking know. Like,
that's pretty much my previous relationship.
Are you saying why would somebody?
Oh my god, I had one of those. It was horrible. I was like, the fuck? Like, I didn't even want you. Like, I didn't like
exactly.
I didn't even like you, and you made me like you. And then the moment I liked you, you decide you don't like me. Like, I don't know.
I mean, a lot of people who haven't moved on from their ex emotionally, right? Then they would pursue, they would pursue a relationship. So that way, like, to fill in what was left, what the ex is no longer filling in, right? Because just for temporary reasons until the ex is willing to give the opening so they can go back. So you're just temporary before they go back. Because even
I always wondered if guys do that. Girls do that. I know.
Guys and girls do that. So when you're with your ex, because you're not receiving that physical and emotional intimacy no more, you still need that. But since your ex can't fulfill it, you find somebody temporarily to fill it for you. And as soon as your ex gives you that opportunity to come back, then you naturally just go back to your ex. But you still need that.
And during that period.
But they're just doing that temporarily to fill in that void, that's missing from the ex. Yeah.
I also have something I want to say is like any guys listening, if I can.
Go ahead.
Right. If you find a girl who's like, on point on her hustle and all of that, and like you don't actually like see a future with her, just leave her the fuck alone. Like, honestly, like, see, like if she's invested in you and she's committed and she's loyal and she's seeing a future with you and you don't, like, please don't drag it on and fuck her up. Because like you're honestly gonna make her lose so much of like days off her hustle because she's spending time getting over you. Like, just leave her the fuck alone if you don't want a future with her. Like, don't let. Sorry?
I can solve that problem for you and totally avoid that. The best way the way a guy is gonna take it seriously is when he chooses to invest himself financially and commit to you. When he decides to take care of you, put a roof over your head, make it clear that he wants to marry you. When he makes that clear, that's how you know. If he's not making that clear, then he's wasting your time.
Yeah, like my previous relationship, there was all of that, and he still just wasted my fucking time. So
he made it clear he wanted to marry you?
Yeah, he was like, whenever I asked him like, why are you still with me? Because he used to have so many problems with me. I'm a liberal girl, he's a conservative guy. And yeah, I saw all the red flags and decided to search altogether and make it into a fucking dress. But like,
did he take care of you financially? Did he take care of you financially?
Like he didn't give me money, but like he did like get me expensive shit and stuff.
Okay. And how long were you with him?
8 to 9 months.
8 to 9 months. Okay, so he took care of you financially. And then did he give you a date, like when he want to get married or whatever?
No,
Or like,
but like whenever I would ask him, like, why are we together? Because we're obviously so different, right?
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
conservative, I'm liberal, and there were so many things that we didn't see eye to eye. Like, you know, I work with pro LGBTIQ,
Yeah.
and he was like, I don't want to mess with that. You know, like there was ideological differences, cultural, like, you know, I'm not the most Sri Lankan person because I've traveled extensively,
Yeah.
and the exposure is different. So like, and I would always ask him, like, why are you still with me? Because sometimes it's so obvious that it's not working. And he would always be like, and he would always be like, no, like I see you as I see you being a really great wife and mother to my kids for me. And, you know, with all of that, and then you just suddenly decide over like some stupid reason to just, you know, make things harder and harder. And he was I felt like the last bit, I felt like he didn't want to break up because I had done so much for him. Like I had taken care of him. I had made sure that, you know, even cooking and all of that. I just felt like he didn't want to be the bad guy and break up. So he would do things that would push me to break up instead. And yeah, again, like more red flags. But like, you know, and when a girl is like, that's what I felt like, you know, like he, like she said, like, initially he was not at all my type, physically not at all my type, and there are very obvious differences as well in terms of like us, like me and him as people.
Yeah.
But he pursued me continuously and he did things, and like even getting me shit and, you know, all of that, and brought me to the point where I invested in him. I was committed to him. I wanted a future with him and all of that. And then after doing all of that and doing all the right things, as you said, it just turned into shit where it was just a waste of time. So I feel like if you're not genuine, I think that comes from genuinely not knowing that you actually want a future with this person.
Were you guys an official boyfriend and girlfriend?
Yeah, we were. And that was all on him. Like, because when he asked me to be his girlfriend on the second date. And my first response was no, because I was still trying to play the field and, you know, settle down with somebody who I actually want to settle down with. And all of that. And he was the one.
Okay.
And I'm not a person who puts rules in a relationship. I feel like the moment you start putting rules, people find ways to get around them.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, don't lie, don't cheat. And if you change your mind about anything, including the relationship or whatever, tell me, because I would prefer the conversation and going like our different parts maturely instead of the drama, because I don't do that. But it was like with him, it was like, okay, like you can't go out with your guy friends. He had issues about me being vocal on social media, like the pictures I posted. Whenever he got drunk, he would slut shame me and shit. Like, you know, it was so fucked up. And my dumb ass still continued to stay. So my whole problem, my whole problem with that was, if you know that this woman is out of your league, because he would say that, like, you're so out of my league, like, you know, look at me and shit. And you know this woman is out of your league, you pursue her, you knew she didn't want to be with you, and now she is emotionally and physically and all of that invested in you, and now you're just backtracking. Like, I just wish for guys, if you're gonna do that to somebody, like, please fucking don't. Like, because I lost like a week off of work because I was so like fucked up over this. And, you know, like, don't do that. It's just, if you're genuinely not interested, if you're genuinely not invested, if you actually are unsure whether you want a future with them, don't tell them that you want a future with them and then fuck them over like after like X amount of time. Like, that's why, like Talita said, if it was not working out, why would you not say it then and there instead of waiting for like 8 to 9 or 10 or 1 year to say, you know what, actually, this is not working out. I'm going to go back to my ex. Or, you know, you gave me everything my ex didn't, but now you're becoming too much. So I'm going to go back to her because I can make that work. You know, like, don't do that shit. That fucks people up.
No, but I would say, because everything you just explained, I think from his standpoint, I think you have to understand, for a lot of people, their version of what a relationship is different from what your version of what a committed relationship is. So there's a lot of toxic people out there. You guys all know this. There's a lot of toxic people out there. So their their standards of what a relationship is totally different from yours. So the what he's like, a lot of people don't know about. I'm sure you met some toxic people, right? Met some toxic people that stay in toxic relationships, and they only stay in toxic relationships, and they don't go find a healthy relationship because that's all they know. That's all that what they were taught growing up from their past relationships, or that's how they were taught growing up as a kid. So there's a lot of people out there that their way they love, the way they treat their partner in a relationship, what they look for, or how they build a relationship is totally different from how you see it. Because your version, what you're looking for is a healthy relationship. For him, in his mind, what he's showing you is healthy for him. But he doesn't know that what he's doing is toxic, but that's normal for him. So I met a lot of people like that you clearly saw the signs it wasn't working. But because, because you're really looking for a relationship, but part of you is really looking for that attachment, that soulmate, you try to overlook those flags when those flags was really, really clear. So sometimes like we have to be very cognizant of the flags, that once we see those red flags, we have to take, I think one of the biggest mistakes a lot of people do is, I don't know if you guys can relate to this. I see a lot of people, we want to date somebody's potential, but we don't want to date their reality.
Yeah.
Like you're dating his potential. You were trying to date his potential, but the reality is the red flags told you everything you needed to know. And you overlooked that because you were thinking about the potential, the wife, the house, the family, when clearly you saw it wasn't working, and you should have left at the moment you saw that red flag. So a lot of people make that mistake, is we're dating somebody's potential. Or you know what, he may be lacking these areas, but maybe he'll eventually over time he'll learn, he'll grow, and things will get better. No, that the red flags are there. It's telling you everything you need to know. You need to take the emotions aside and look at it in a very logical way. But what I'm saying is for guys, like, a guy's going to commit to you if everything is healthy, and he's choosing to take care of you financially and provide you and take care of you and marry you. But if he's buying all those things, but you see the signs that his behavior is not matching up, and then I would say that's you. You should have left. You should have left. You should have left when you saw it. But you guys, but just understand, a lot of guys out there, their version of what a relationship is not what you're looking for. So they may like, I've been in some toxic relationships. I'm like, how the hell can you do that? But then I realized, that's what they think a normal relationship is. And I'm sure you guys have been in a relationship with toxic, and you're like, why would this person do it? But then I realized that's what they were taught at a very young age as a kid, or from their previous relationships, that's how their partner treated them. So in their mind, they think that's normal. And then when they finally meet a healthy person, then the healthy person is like, no, that's not normal. Like, that's very toxic. And that's the first time they ever, like I said, that's when the conflict happens between you and him. So you need to find healthy people.
Do you guys think toxic households produce toxic partners?
Of course, always. Oh, I mean, I'm not saying always, but I said majority of the time, if you grew up in a toxic household, there's going to be a lot of toxicity within you, especially what you think love is and your relationship with your, I'm sure you guys heard of the daddy issues, mommy issues. Like your relationship with your father and your mom will have a big impact on your relationship with what you look for in a partner. So that's why it's really important to find a good partner, a good partner. But we've come to the end, the conclusion. Man, you guys asked some great questions. We had some good conversations. We came to the end. I just want to say thank you guys for this, for jumping on the podcast and having these conversations. If you guys are watching this right now, still tuning in, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Please drop a comment. Please like and subscribe. And like I said, besides Christine, Talita and Eesha, they're single. So I will drop their social media info below. So if you guys learned a lot about them today, so if you guys have everything they're looking for and they're both looking for their dream guy, hey, there's opportunities here. But I want to ask the ladies before we close off the podcast. I just want to ask you guys, let's just what were your thoughts on the podcast, and what did you take away from it based on our conversations today? And I'll start with you, Christine.
Why am I first for everything? I wrote some notes down too from this, and I've been in the dating game for a while too, so it's like I've experienced with different kind of men, but it's still like here and there, like I need this reminders, like what I need to look for and what's important for me to look for in a relationship. And even though like I'm in a relationship now, like now I have even more questions. Like whether it's like, do we want the same things? Like, you know, is it gonna work out? Should I have not ignored the red flags? And like all of these questions that now it's like I'm kind of like, I don't know, I need to think about kind of. So yeah, this was really helpful and it was fun talking to you guys.
Yeah, your boyfriend's probably watching this like, oh shit, I was joking.
She's gonna call me right now.
Damn, she gotta do my research on that shit. I'm just joking. Thank you so much. All right, you Talita, your thoughts on the podcast and what you take from it.
Well, for Christina, I think it's great. Like, just remember one thing. I'm saying this as a mom, but also as another female, a little bit older. I think a lot of times we forget that the whole point of dating is to find that right person. So it's okay that more times than not, it ends up not being the right person because you're weeding out the ones that aren't for you to get to that right person. And sometimes the lessons that we learn from the wrong ones helps us understand what we want and what we're looking for in that quote unquote right person for us, which may not be suitable for somebody else, but it works for us. So I think sometimes as women, we get stuck on like, man, another messed up date or another one that didn't work out. But I even have to remind myself, it's okay. Like, that's the point of dating. You can say no, you can end things. It's not the same thing as marriage. Marriage is a whole different thing. Once you don't want to just settle. Trust me, you don't want to do that. Because once you get to the marriage thing, it's a different ballpark. There is a level of serious commitment. Dating, you have commitment, but it's a time for you to get to know the person. And there's none of this, don't let no guy tell you about this pre-dating. Let me get to know you before I fucking decide if I want to date you. No, bitch. The dating process is for you to get to know me. There's no pre-dating or dating. So fuck you if that's what I think. So, but remember, so it's okay. Let's date, see if we work. If not, then part ways, you know, and be okay with it. At the end, you don't have to be toxic. You can be totally okay and agree to that that's not the right person. But I like that you did bring perspective because that is a good way of looking at it. How somebody, I have to remind myself, and I'm going to try to remind myself that, like you said, their vision of what a good, healthy, suitable relationship is may not be mine. Because I tell myself all the time, like what somebody, I can't expect somebody to act or react the way that I would act in a situation. So it has to apply in that sense too, which that's what you brought up. Like, so why am I going to expect them to want the same exact standards or feel the exact same way of what I want this healthy relationship to be? I don't know what their background is.
Yeah.
And when you brought up the point about the parents or the family or whatever in the household, there are some people that are able to break away from that pattern.
Yeah.
And be different, very different than their upbringing, but those are far and few. Most people, there's a reason why you said there's that saying daddy issue, mommy issue, or you know, like you are, show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are kind of thing. There's a reason for those little quotes or sayings because they ring true more times than not. And I feel like that's very true in relationship a lot. Every time that I've encountered a relationship that I felt that was legitimately very toxic, when I dug deep enough, I realized that their upbringing matched that situation. And that if I would have dug into that in the beginning, which now I've kind of switched things around a little bit. And that's one of the initial questions that I dig into for that specific reason, because it tells me a lot about whoever I'm on that date with, if their idea of what a relationship is and what I want are going to match up. How was their upbringing?
All right. Dan, Talita, you were flexing hard. You were bringing facts.
I'm old.
No, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. That was preach. And last but not least, Eesha, what was your thoughts about the podcast and what did you take away from it?
So just a little something for Christine. I feel like you kind of remind me of myself when like I was 25. Like it seems like such a lifetime ago because of everything I've been through. But like I feel like you're just like a sweet, kind, and really nice person. And for me, one of the things that I really kind of fucked up for myself in my previous relationship was the fact that, I would really have all these questions and overthinking and everything that came into my head about whether things are going to work out, or whether things like, what, these red flags, look at them, like, how am I going to deal with them? Are they still going to continue? Is he going to change? Should I be giving him the benefit of the doubt because people are people? And that really got to me. Like, it really emotionally unbalanced me. So even if after this podcast, like, you've kind of gotten all these questions or some uncertainties about your current relationship, just go with the flow. Like, never give anybody the power to fuck you up mentally, to like take away your mental peace, and just see how things go. Because like, you've just started out, and like, it's going to be like, it's a journey, obviously. And sometimes, like, when we get on a journey, like, we never know where it's going to go, right? If it goes to a great place and you end up in the most beautiful waterfall, that's great. But if you end up where the road is literally closed, I mean, all you can do is just find a different route. So I would say, like, as much as you've gotten to know things and you might have questions right now, just like, don't let it get to you, please. Like, don't make it too hectic on yourself. But in terms of the podcast in general, like, I think I really got a lot of information about myself and what I should work on myself as well, because I know that I still carry some trauma where, like, right now I'm absolutely fucking terrified of somebody telling me that they love me. I'm really terrified, which is why I think I do situationship, or whatever you want to call it, because I'm so used to somebody saying it and then leaving. So I don't want anybody to say it again. And that, I know that is trauma. And at the same time, it was so interesting to find that we do share similar traits, even though we are like in completely different time zones, areas, whatever. And like the insights, like the male perspective was really great for me as well, because like sometimes I wonder, like, am I crazy to be thinking these things? Like, but then, you guys kind of gave me some validation. So props to me at the moment. But I really honestly did enjoy talking to all of you. And honestly, like, I feel like I really vibe with Talita because it's super nice to like have conversations with somebody who knows the hustle, but also is on point with what they want to do in life, I think. So props to you, girl. Hope you keep going. And Christine, I'm so excited. I'm so excited for you and this new relationship. And I really hope it works out for you and you stay happy. And well, yeah.
Let's go, Christine. We're all
let's go.
We're gonna want weekly updates.
Yeah, definitely.
Stay tuned on social media.
Yes, like,
and yeah, of course, like, thanks for hosting this. Like, I didn't know what to expect, but this was like damn pleasantly surprising. Right, yeah. So thanks so much.
No worries. No, I just want to say one more time, thank you ladies for all jumping on. Thank you for responding to my random weird message. my random DM. Thank you for responding. I really enjoyed everything you guys shared, from people that are tuning in and watching to get something out of it. I guess the one thing I will take away from a lot of things you guys said, and you guys can all agree with this for everybody that's watching, when it comes to what Talita said, finding that right partner and finding that right person for you, you cannot force things. And I know, for hearing a lot of conversations from Eesha, for all you guys, a lot of the relationships that we had in the past, or the relationships you guys shared with us, a lot of the relationships, we tend to try to force something that wasn't meant to happen. So I believe one of my favorite sayings in the world is like, everything happens for a reason. And sometimes the things, sometimes we want something to happen right now, but we don't realize God has a purpose and plan for everything in its own time. So sometimes we want things in our time, but God has a different time for that. And we just got to realize that, internalize that, but don't force it. The right person for you, one of the things I've always heard, the right person for you won't make it harder, it will make it easier, because he's the person that's supposed to be with you. So if it's making it too difficult, if there's a lot of conflicts and it's not working out, and that's probably the universe telling you, it's called red flags. There's a flag, that's why the flag is waving. Leave. right? But you have to be aware of that cognizant of that. So I just want to say, yeah, don't force things. If it's meant to be, it's gonna happen. And like Talita said, if it's not meant to happen, then leave off healthy and move on. And like I said, sometimes we have to go to the wrong relationships to attract the right relationship for you. And when you get that right relationship, I guarantee you all of those past relationships is gonna be worth it because now you found the right person. So just want to share that with everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for watching. We do this every single Saturday. I'm always looking for people to tune in and to be on the podcast. If you're interested to be on this podcast and have conversations with different people in the world, tune in. If you're looking for somebody, want to put yourself out there and advertise yourself, jump on too, and we can find somebody for you. We can find something for you. Help me, I help you. But yeah, thank you for tuning in and thank you for watching all these ladies. And of course, if you guys want to follow these beautiful ladies, I'll definitely have their info and social media info on the bottom of this video, and definitely support them and everything they do because they're all wonderful, amazing. So thank you so much for tuning in.